Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to another episode of the Two Abdullahs with your two favorite naughty slaves of Allah. Today, we have a really interesting episode coming up. And as you may have noticed, this is on a new channel. So if you are new here, please do subscribe. I got hit with a bit of a unfortunate situation on the main channel. So trying to get this channel up and running. It's 9 p.m. here as well in Eastern time zone where we are both located. And how is it going, Abdullah Gondal?
Hello, everybody. Thank you for having me here once again. It's a pleasure to be here. Going amazing. Today, I brought this special presentation for everybody, and the whole point was to have a good, lighthearted laugh. And Friday night, a stand-up comedy kind of lighthearted conversation, but also to bring into perspective the full intensity and magnitude of the stupidity found in the religion of Islam, especially Sunni Islam. And I mean, I kid you not, it'll be hard at times to hold our laughter. But that's what we will be doing. Now, we have about 150 hadith and verses, about 160 something to be exact. But obviously, we can't get through them all. There are about 100 slides. So we will try to get through as many of them as we can. And we'll periodically take calls about every 5 or 10 slides and take your guys' viewpoints as well. But before we get into it, I remember my friend Samir had something to say about the Paris shooting, Paris attack that happened today, which was really unfortunate.
Oh yeah. Let me just load that up on the news article. What happened there? So, Paris attack. So what happened is, can you say what happened? Or I just look it up.
Yeah. So
Fatal
what
egg
happened?
attack.
Yeah. So this person apparently attacked a history teacher because it was defending, or at least lecturing about freedom of speech in a classroom in France, and the attacker beheaded him at about 5 p.m., they say, in a suburb of Paris. He was eventually shot dead by the police, but he was yelling Allahu Akbar and whatnot. And this just goes to show that why we do what we do and why we need to keep uh, criticizing this faith and normalizing dissent and eradicating this concept and idea of blasphemy. Um, it's very, very unfortunate what happened again. At the same time, I'd like to say one thing, that we cannot keep turning a blind eye towards this, saying that, oh, Islam has nothing to do with this. Islam is a religion of peace. Let's be realistic. Let's stop messing around. The problem is your books. Your prophet killed blasphemers and poets. His companions followed suit. And not only that, the earliest scholars of Islam have books and books full of this nonsense. And it's like Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal, Shafi, Malik, all sorts of books you'll find. And until Muslims are willing to denounce these medieval scholars and these medieval scholarship that they keep idolizing, nothing's going to change. You have to explicitly come out and say that, hey, Ibn Taymiyyah's book, The Unsheathed Sword, is absolutely bonkers. Like, we do not need this. So, anyways, let's not
Yeah.
digress too much from the topic and get back to it.
Yeah, exactly. Just obviously, we're not saying all Muslims believe this, and obviously, you can't just assume. I mean, support this, and obviously, you can't just assume that just because someone's Muslim that they would support such a heinous, evil thing. The majority of Muslims do not support it because the majority of Muslims are better than the holy books and the holy books and the holy teachings. Obviously, many of them, unfortunately, even today in this world, still see this as something that needs to be done in order to protect the religion. So that is unfortunate. And like you said, we don't want to, spend too much time on that. We just want to condemn this and move on. So to start with the presentation, and again, for those of you who are new here, please do subscribe. There's a new channel. We want to get up and running. And as well, I have a link for a mailing list and a link to donate, because we don't have any super chats today. We don't have any way of getting super chats. So all of the donations, if you want to send, it'll be through PayPal. So please do send them on there. Now to begin, Circus of Islam. Why did you call it Circus of Islam? What's the purpose there?
So the point of calling this a circus is it's literally a circus. It's like a stand-up comedy show. Like if you're talking about flying carpets, genies teleporting, possessing people, and then talking babies, and then dead meat making dead people come back to life, all sorts of absurdities. Like we'll see. Well, let's get into it because
Uh,
well, so start the first slide that says floating mountains. So as you can see, it says in Surah 2, verse 63, and we took a promise from you and lifted the mountain over you. So basically, Allah was mad that these people aren't listening to him. So he scared them by just uprooting this mountain and just floating it over them, as you can see. And on the right side, we have Tafsir al-Jalalain tell us that again. We uprooted from the earth and placed above you when you refused to accept it. So this God is threatening people with floating mountains, which is quite ridiculous.
yeah.
Oh my God. So we have zombie birds. Who would have thought? So this is a very common known story. What happens is Abraham was kind of, I don't know why he was not sure of Allah's power or his dominion. He says, "Oh my Lord, show me something how you give life to the dead." And Allah's like, "Have you not believed?" And everyone, of course, I believe. I just want to make myself satisfied, make my iman stronger. I need a sign from you, O Lord. So the weirdest thing happens. Allah says, take 4 birds and commit them to yourself. Then after slaughtering them, put on each hill a different portion of them and then call them. And then they all came flying together. So if you're on the right side, what he's saying is that he took the heads and he held the heads, and then he mixed together their flesh and feathers, then set a part of them on every hill in the land. And then he summoned them, and they came to him. So he called them, and all the parts began to fly back together, combining until they were all. So he was holding the heads, and this leg is coming flying, and then this wing is coming flying.
Oh my God. And they add a lot of drama in the tafsir, eh? They add a lot of content. Abraham took a peacock, an eagle, a raven, and a cock. So he took 4 different types of birds. I don't know how he found them. And just to highlight, these are on Faith's comment here. Most Muslims are completely unaware of what is in Islam's early source material and what the Mujaddideen have written. It's so true.
Exactly.
And the reason I was going to say the reason why you included tafsir is just to show that that doesn't mean this is the only interpretation, but this is like a legit Sunni interpretation. These are major scholarly works that have, the tafsirs, the exegesis on the Quran. So we're not straw manning or making up the meaning. This is actually what it means.
All right, let's go to the next one. Oh, the F-16 is here, the most famous, my favorite plane. But so we know that Allah sent an army of birds with pebbles in their mouth, and then they dropped those pebbles and they killed the whole army of elephants. Now, one wonders, like, what was Allah? This is Allah's F-16 army, coming in with those heat-seeking missiles firing at those elephants. But what doesn't make sense is like, how did the birds coordinate? How did the elephants get to Mecca, first of all, in 6th century Arabia? It was in 570 AD. We'll stop at that and move on to the next one. Oh, that's Zeus, right? Is that Zeus?
Yeah.
What do we have here? So in 255, Allah says, "And recall when you said, oh Moses, we will never believe you until we see Allah outright." So people object to Moses, show us Allah. So Allah was so mad at the demand of these people, he took a thunderbolt and then just threw it on them. And then he revived them after killing them. I don't know what the point of that was. And the same story is repeated in Surah 4, verse 153. So the thunderbolt struck them for their wrongdoing, and they took the calf for worship. So Allah kills them, revives them, and they still don't listen. They go worship the golden calf. I mean, Allah needs to work on these people.
Avengers Age of Ultron was loosely based on this.
Oh Lord.
It's kind of funny, yeah. And it's interesting that these this thunderbolt idea and this idea of God up there was doing all of these things. Suddenly he stopped doing all these things, but early on he was so involved. He was like lifting mountains and throwing thunderbolts,
It's like a
sending
miracle every day, you know?
yeah, miracle every day, and now in like nothing.
For 14 centuries, man.
Yeah.
Ooh. Is that a party and a table with Jesus and his disciples in the corner? Oh man, what is going on here? So
Oh, this
another
is Surah
interesting
Maida.
story. Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is an interesting story in Surah 5, verse 114 and 115. So here we see Jesus, the son of Mary, said, "O Allah, our Lord, send down to us a table spread with food from heaven to be for us a festival." And then Allah actually said, "Yeah, indeed, I will send it down," and yada yada yada. He sent it down. And when we get to the tafsir of Jalalain, we find out what it was on that table. So it says, "Verily, I shall send it down. But whoever of you disbelieves afterwards, after it has been sent down, I'll surely chastise him with a chastisement, and he's going to punish them a lot." So the angel descended with it from heaven. On it were 7 loaves and 7 large fish, so they ate of it until they were full, as related by Ibn Abbas. In one other hadith, it says that it consisted of bread and meat. So just kind of funny that like there's this table floating and these angels are holding it, bringing it down with 7 loaves of bread and 7 loaves of fish. At least I'd expect Allah to give them something more sophisticated. I mean, bread and fish. Like, come on, give them something else, like spices,
Yeah.
garam masala.
Yeah.
Allah's culinary skills are not up to par. Gordon Ramsay will be very mad.
Hold on to your snake. Okay, so Moses threw his staff and it became a serpent manifest. And it says in the tafsir that the male it was a male snake. I don't know why that's relevant, but apparently it was a male snake. And Firaun jumped from his throne and said, "Help, help," because the snake came his way. Oh wow, there's even
Oh
more
my
details
God.
than that. It says it went to Firaun to swallow him. Whoa, whoa. Placing its lower jaw on the ground, its upper jaw at the top of the palace. That's a big
Wow, how
ass
big was
snake.
this?
That's a big ass snake there. You can make enough get enough leather from that snake for the whole palace, eh? You
Imagine when
make
it
a nice
sheds its
movie.
skin.
Yeah.
Uh,
Oh man. Should I
he
continue?
was
Okay.
frightened. Okay, Aquaman.
Aquaman.
What is this? What is going on? So Allah says to Moses, it's Moses again.
Yeah.
We inspired Moses, strike with your staff the sea, and it parted, and each portion was like a giant towering mountain. So Allah like tells Moses, hit it with the stick, and then suddenly there's these paths of like these appear in the ocean, and they're as big as mountains. And it's apparently in the details it says it's like 12 paths, but that's not in the verse. But it's funny, like, oh, let's go forward. Is that another Moses miracle?
Yeah.
Damn, like this guy was a full-on magician, man. He's good. Okay, so here it says, and he drew out his hand, and thereupon it was white with radiance for the observers. So what seemed to have happened is Moses had a miracle where he put his hand and then he'll put it in his armpit, put it like this, and then white. And it
That's
says like in the tafsir, it gives you more detail because it wouldn't hurt. It was not because of leprosy and whatnot. But then it'd go back to his normal color. Okay. All right. Let's go on. Oh.
Zam Zam for Jews.
So this story is, oh my God, more that stack, that wand. Moses had a magic wand, magic stick. He hit that same stick now on a rock, and 12 springs of water came out of it.
Just like
Like,
Zam
what is
Zam.
going? Just like Zam Zam.
Yeah.
And mentioned when Moses sought water. This is weird. Look at the details. We said, strike with your staff the rock, the one that ran off with his robe. Oh my God, it's the same rock that ran off with his clothes.
Oh my
So
god.
there's
Are you
another
serious?
story.
Whoa,
Yeah.
whoa, that's interesting. What? What? That's connected back to the Quran. The one that he hit, that water came out, is the same one. It was angry and came back after him. That is hilarious. I did not know that. Tafsir
I
al-Jalalain.
just.
Man, you got the gems. Oh, I should put the link for calls too. Adam
Yeah.
Lixter is saying, why didn't Moses and Abraham perform in Las Vegas?
They weren't like Chris Angel, man. Like okay, let's move on. Oh my God, what is this? UFOs? 600. What is going on? Ibn Masud informed us that the Prophet had seen Gabriel having 600 wings. What? Was he standing there and counting each wing? Like 1, 2, 3, or like is this a euphemism for a lot of wings? But I don't understand. Why do angels really need wings? Because the atmosphere of the earth is very thin in
Yeah.
relation to the whole universe where there's no air. So
And normally
it's
it's
actually
70, right? Normally when
yeah,
it's a large number, it would be 70. Why 600? It's interesting. I wonder
it's
what the
very
meaning of that is.
weird. Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe the ancient Arabs had like multiple ways of saying a lot. It was either 70 or 600 or 40,000, like the specific numbers, right?
Yeah. Oh, what is teleporting genies? Oh, that's hilarious. So the story here happens with Solomon. So when Solomon was sitting, he was told by a bird that there's this palace, and he's like, I want to see that palace, and I want that queen in front of me. So the genie's like, hey, don't worry, man. Like, I'll bring that queen in front of you in a blink of an eye, like this. So then Solomon is sitting there, and the genie like goes, and suddenly Solomon blinks his eye, and the whole throne with the queen, everybody's just there, just teleported. Not only can genies teleport, they can make things teleport and humans teleport with them. So imagine if we can find a genie that is using this quantum teleportation and he can zoom back and forth through time. Imagine.
Yeah, I was thinking this is going to be in the future, and when in Star Trek and Star, they have the teleporters, but apparently it was in the past, ancient knowledge. The
But
ancients were
watch what's
teleporting.
but their ancient teleporting shows up on the right side. So
Yeah.
he explains how he teleported. So he looked up to the heavens, and this was done by having it travel under the earth until it sprung up below Solomon's kursi seat. Like this tunnel system, this quantum
Oh,
tunnel
Elon
system.
Musk, the boiling machine, right? He has a boiling company.
Exactly.
So not only teleports Star Wars, it's also Elon Musk's. This man,
Oh my.
see, Islam predicted Elon Musk's boiling machine, right? I mean, that's his plan to make a big tunnel
Oh.
under the earth, right?
What was that in Incredibles 2? That monster. All right. Let's take a
Okay.
call. Let's see how far it's
Oh,
going.
there was a call and he disappeared. I hope he comes back. Just to make
Okay.
it clear, the reason we are making fun of this is because, I mean, if you just go back to the very beginning, we just talked about how someone just just committed a murder in the name of Islam. I'm not saying all Muslims believe that, but definitely the books and the religion has a lot of bad things in it. So, why don't we make fun of it? Why don't we, show people? And the combined effect of like highlighting all of these things at once is to make people shocked and to believe and to realize that, whoa, I like all of these crazy things are in Islam. I mean, and Abdullah Gondal, what would you say while we're waiting for the caller? What would you say if someone told you, well, God can do anything. God can make genies teleport, and he can make Elon Musk boiling machine in the past, and he can make fish that like, oh, we didn't get to the fish yet.
It's,
Why do you think this is like such a big, like, why is this a big deal? I mean, God can do anything, right? God can do
it's
anything, but
funny.
apparently, hold on, God can do anything, but he can't come down as a man, apparently. That's not allowed. That
Well,
can't
he
happen.
did though, but as per Christians, he did though, right? Like half the
No,
world
I'm
does
saying,
think.
according to Islam, he cannot do that. That's not allowed for
Mhm.
him to do that, or that's not befitting him, or whatever. But he apparently all these other things are. Um,
Yeah. So one thing I'd say is like, why does God always choose to do these weird stuff, and that too only show it to people that lived thousands of years ago in the age of ignorance and superstition with no way of validating this?
yeah.
Why does he only choose those people? And isn't it kind of unfair on us? Also, why did he take early retirement like 14 centuries ago, man? Like if Muhammad's Meccan people can see the splitting of the moon and then they have something to go off on, but why wasn't it shown to us? Maybe split the moon again. Like how hard is it, Allah? But
It's not
the
fair,
point
right?
is that,
Yeah.
and if you say God can do it, well then every religion can justify anything and everything using that, because there's no, you end up blurring the line between reality and supernatural at that point, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're
Yeah.
saying my
Yeah.
God is true, and if anything goes, anything goes. It's just that this God chooses the most pettiest ways to manifest himself.
That is true, and that is a problem when we talk about things like Noah's Ark as well, and when we say that, well, God, it was a miracle. The bears and the wolves didn't eat the cows and chickens, and but then if that was the case, then why go through that whole process anyways? If everything is just going to be an appeal to supernatural, right? And there is a sort of movement now for some people to say there's no supernatural. This guy, I mean, Mufti Abu Layth, I think, is one of them, and obviously Ismailis believe that. Ahmadis, they say there is no supernatural. So all of these stories, I don't know how they interpret them, but obviously we're talking about the Sunni perspective here, and we're going by that.
So one thing very important, because now a lot of Muslims, when they see this, they'll be like, "Oh, but these are all metaphors. These aren't literal. Don't worry. It's no, it's okay." Especially the more liberal and Ahmadi Muslims will say that. The
Yeah.
problem with that perspective is it's constantly rebuked directly by Allah Himself, where the Meccans would make the exact same objections to Muhammad, saying these are just old stories. None of this actually happened. In haza illa asatirul awwalin. So Allah would say, no, they're not just old stories. They're actually real
Yeah.
stories and they actually happen. So you
I'm
kind of end
excited.
up
Yeah.
in the same boat as the Meccans as soon as you kind of try to relegate the stories to metaphors. And the problem is, what is the standard? Who is to decide which story is metaphor, which part is literal? Little bit of it is metaphor, a little bit is. How do you know? Because at that point, you're depending on scholars deriving these interpretations, not God telling you Himself, right?
Zandaf, the med says, good point, Gondal. And one more
Thank you.
thing is, I was gonna say I'm excited. I'm waiting for the day where the Dawa guys will start saying that the stories in the Quran are not actually like there's just fables. I'm just waiting for that day because I think that's the next step after the whole scientific miracles is a wash now. The next big thing and the preservation is a wash now. The preservation of the Quran. The next thing I'm waiting for is the stories in the Quran are metaphors. And let's see if we can take a call now. Hello, Mr. Virginia. Are you here? Hello, hello. Okay, Mr. Virginia is not here. Hello, Ali. Are you here?
Hello.
Hello, Ali.
Hello.
Oh, there you are. Hi.
Hello. Yes. Hi. Can you hear me?
Yeah, perfectly fine, man.
Can you hear?
Yeah, I can hear you fine. Can you hear me?
Okay. Yes. Yes. So, you're talking to me or Mr. Virginia?
I'm talking to you, Ali. You can give us your question now.
Oh. Oh. Okay. Yeah. So, I mean, in this stream is basically, we're boiling it down to miracles, right? We're basically kind of the gist of the stream is about the miracles. But the thing is, people believe in the truth of Islam not because of miracles, but it's because they believe in the truth of Islam for all set of other reasons, and that's a different debate altogether. And once they come to the truth of Islam because of that, and of the fact of an omnipotent God, then these things are kind of an extrapolation, a secondary matter, and no one bases the religion on the things that you listed today. So, I mean, at the end of the day, we're not getting anywhere in terms of because Abdullah Samir mentioned that why not make fun of the religion because of such and such teachings. Then I mean no one's stopping. But at the end of the day, there are people who believe in it and base their belief in it on on entirely different set of things altogether. And then go ahead.
Okay, so one thing I would say is you made a point about epistemology, right? So if you say that, hey, I believe that the Quran is Allah's word, so from that point on, everything the Quran says is going to be right. And that's a problem because you have to judge a book. So in academia, there's something called we don't judge something by its internal mechanisms and beliefs all the time. You have to put it something outside to falsify, right? If you keep, if sorry, I'm hearing a lot of chatter in the background. Um, if you keep going with the idea that if God can do this, then he can do everything, then like I said earlier, there's no distinction between reality and supernatural. And you're trying to make your religion and the stories in your book sound more unfalsifiable. And like I understand what you're trying to say, that you're saying that the stories are unfalsifiable in a sense, but people don't care about their absurdity. They just believe in it regardless, and uh, they have belief
No,
in some
see,
prior to the stories, right?
yes, yeah. I'm
Yeah,
sorry. You can complete your point.
yeah, that's my point. But it's the point of epistemology, right? Like you're saying, like, oh, I believe in Allah, therefore everything the Quran says is true. But what I'm trying to say is,
Uh,
when the Quran makes claims about the physical world and how these miracles happen, and these miracles leave or should have some reminiscence or some form of falsifiability to them, because then you don't really have anything, because you're just creating an unfalsifiable loop. You understand what I mean?
Yeah, yes. I mean, I do, and from your the way you see it, you may be right, and I'm not, I'm acknowledging that. But what I'm saying is, when you bring in the methodological naturalism and keep
Mm-hmm.
that in mind as part of the philosophy of science, then
Mm-hmm.
one of the main axioms of it is that you have to leave supernatural, out of it. These are some things that are not in the
Mm-hmm.
same realm. And
Mm-hmm.
methodological naturalism actually entails that these things are not, we don't wear the lens of science when we look at these things at all. So this whole stream in that sense would be, out the window. I mean, I'm not saying that demanding that you stop do that. You can, and that's your freedom of speech. But at the end of the day, when you keep methodological naturalism in mind, then this is just criticism for the sake of criticism and making fun for the sake of making fun. And we're not, at the end of the day, getting anywhere with that.
I would really disagree with that, because like I said, we are into how many slides are we in? Like 10? We have about 100 slides, and what I'm trying to showcase is that, like I keep saying, yes, certain amount of absurdity, people, Muslims will be like, yeah, okay. But buddy, like you're gonna see an amount of absurdity and stupidity that is at conflict with reason on every imaginable level. Okay?
Mhm. Yeah.
And that's what I'm trying to say. Is
And it's yeah.
this is not generic BS. What I'm trying to say is that the absurdity that I've compiled in one format, when you put it together and you view it holistically, you realize, oh boy, okay. And like I said, I understand your point, and I totally know the point about epistemology. But the point then again happens, and if you can say, then everybody can say, and then everybody's religion is okay, right? And I also understand your point about methodological naturalism as well. We are presupposing that, of course, but that is the best presupposition we can have based on the evidence. But
Yeah.
despite that, just watch the presentation and see how bad it gets. Just on a side note, I'm just want to ask: are you Muslim or a non-believer?
I am a Muslim.
Okay, so we might take you back later on, and I'll ask you a few questions about some of the things that we will come across. Okay, because some of them will be so
Okay.
outright, like for example, outright conflict with science, that it's just really hard to make sense of them. Okay, but anyways, I'll get back to you.
Uh,
Do keep the link and join us later on. I'd like to talk to you later. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
yeah, I
Like
mean, I do. I'm sorry. I do apologize in advance if I'm not there for the full stream. I've just got some things to do.
No problem,
But
man.
anyway, I mean, still nice talking to you, and you
No,
guys
no,
have a
totally.
good night ahead.
Thank you, Ali. Sorry,
Thank you. I
I don't know.
appreciate your nice cordial exchange as well. It's nice talking to you. Thank you.
Thanks. I
All
don't
right,
know what
no
happened to
problem,
my.
guys. Goodbye.
Yep. Bye. I don't know what happened to my computer. Why it's crashed now. It's crashed twice, so I apologize for that. If it happens
Oh,
again, yeah, blue screen. It seems like.
think I can share the thing too then.
Oh, I have it. I have the
Just in
slides now.
Okay.
But just in case, yeah, you can share. You should be able to. I think.
Okay.
Hopefully it won't happen again. And
Let's
just
go
to
a couple
add,
of slides.
you want to do a couple slides before the next call? Okay. Just to
Yeah.
add to what you were saying, it is, which is what I was asking you just before this caller came and asked basically the same thing. And it is one argument. It's true that this is one way of presenting this information, and it has its flaws too, right? It has its flaws that if you can always go back and say, well, it's possible. But the thing is, what we're trying to show is that any reasonable mind would not accept any of these things except for the fact that it's part of Islam. If I came and told you, like you've come up with these stories of Zenu, the great prophet Zenu, and he did this and that, and everyone's like, what kind of crazy cult is this? And then you're like, oh, sorry, that wasn't Zenu, that was Allah. And everyone's like,
exactly.
Like,
Well,
that's the point. We're trying to, we're trying to show that the amount of craziness here that people will accept only because it's from the religion, only because like it doesn't otherwise wouldn't make any sense. So apologize to the
I've done this exact experiment with my own family. A lot of Muslims in a family gathering, I said, hey, I heard this story about the shooting stars chasing genies. All of them were laughing their ass off. No, joke. Muslims are laughing at the idea that this could possibly be true. In fact, some guys, no, of course not. It's meteors. But then I'm like, but buddy, it's in the Quran, and they're like, no way. And then I showed it to them 3 times. Okay.
All right, slides.
Let's go. Yeah.
All right. Oh, song button.
There.
All right. Are we on this one? No, we did this one.
Yeah, we did. Oh, black dogs are Satan. What? Okay, so this is weird. So Prophet Muhammad is telling you something that there is that 3 things can cut off your prayer, sever your prayer, is if a donkey passes in front of you, a black dog, and a woman. So Allah is comparing women in the same category as black dogs and donkeys, the Prophet. And then he says to make sure to kill the black dog because the black dog is the devil. And there's a lot more hadith to it, but we'll just stick to this one. And you will see this recurring theme, this xenophobia occur. Not only did Muhammad hate black dogs, but we'll see why he hated black dogs, because his best imaginary friend hated black dogs. So there's a whole backdrop to it.
Isn't it also like a conflict? I'm trying to find it, but I don't have it. Where I remember Aisha was angry about this hadith. And
yeah,
she was
and
like,
she said,
no. Yeah, go ahead.
She said, I was praying, he was praying at night, and I was sitting there, and I was in front of him. I didn't cut off the prayer or something.
Yeah, she didn't like the hadith, apparently.
What was funny was like Aisha wasn't even there when Muhammad
said it. Didn't she say you're comparing us to donkeys and dogs?
Exactly, she literally said that. Yeah.
I don't have the reference. I couldn't find it right now, but talking spy birds.
Talking spy. What is going on?
But the hoopoe stayed not long. It says, I've encompassed in knowledge that which you have not encompassed. I have come to you from Shiva with certain news. Ooh, do tell us, O hoopoe. Indeed, I found a woman ruling them, and she's been given all things, and she has a great throne. I don't know what this obsession is with the throne. It's like, what the hell? It's like, why are you so worried about this throne? Like,
but hey, women queens, remember that this is before Islam. The Quran is testifying that women were queens before Islam, more rights in prehistoric, pre-Islamic eras. There you go. And Muhammad said, and Muhammad reduced women to say that any woman who becomes leader of a nation will be cursed.
Oh man, talk about losing rights, eh?
Oh boy, this one's funny where I just don't get it. The story of Solomon is so mind-bogglingly clearly a fable. Like it's beyond words. The guy talks to birds. Then he talks to genies. Then he has teleporting genies, and genies are making him wells and all sorts of buildings, and they're bringing the Queen of Sheba to him. Bird is going spying for him. Then he's hearing ants getting scared of his army being crushed. Like, what is left? Oh, wait, there is something more. But yeah, this story is weird. Where like Solomon is running towards the valley of the ants, and he hears the ants speak. Oh, ants, enter dwellings. You'll be crushed by Solomon's. And Solomon's hear that, and he laughs. Like what? And that it's like, how does Solomon interpret the vibrations on the top of the things that vibrate? It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Right. And this is a pattern you'll see.
Yeah.
Talking cows.
Should I go ahead? Yeah. So it's hard to know when you're done. Yeah.
So what's funny is there's talking cows and talking wolves. After talking birds wasn't enough. After talking, so we have a hadith where it says, while a man was driving a cow, he suddenly rode over it and beat it. So he's like, hey, you bad cow. Slap, slap. The cow started talking. We have not been created for this, but we have been created for slapping. You almost spat out your drink. On that, the people said, astonishingly, glorified be Allah, cow speaks. Even the people are like, what is, even Muhammad's contemporaries are like, this doesn't make sense, dude.
The companions are like, what's going on? Like, this isn't making sense.
No, then Muhammad ups it up a notch. He's like, oh, I believe this, and Abu Bakr and Omar believe it too, although neither of them was present there.
That part is weird.
It doesn't stop. Then suddenly, while a person was amongst his sheep, a wolf attacked and took one of the sheep. The man chased the wolf till he saved it from the wolf. Whereupon the wolf started speaking, you have saved it from me, but who will guard it on the day of the wild beast where there'll be no shepherd to guard them except me?
Giving dawah. The wolf is giving dawah, man. You guys have to worship Allah because they have judgment, and who's gonna guard you when there's no guardian? Wolf dawah. There's what is it, like jinn dawah? The jinns give dawah, the wolf gives dawah, the trees give dawah. It's like, what is this?
And then the wolf speaks, and even people are like, Subhanallah, how does the wolf speak? And then the Prophet says again, I believe this, but Abu Bakr and Umar too, and they weren't even there. What is going on?
Oh my God. I took a class called Prophetic Dawah, and it's like you could make a whole class on this. Like when someone doesn't believe it, I believe it, and even this guy believes it, and he wasn't even there.
Oh my God. This is blind faith in action. Yeah, let's go next slide. Oh boy. As if talking animals weren't enough, you have stones. This is even before Muhammad became a prophet. So he'll be walking by in the valleys of Mecca, and then suddenly he'll like, hey, Muhammad, what's up? Salam alaikum, bro. And Muhammad's like, hey, stone, what's up, man? It's just like, he recognizes the stone. Like, the stone is a specific stone, too.
You should have taken it home, man. It's like a little pet, right?
You actually have pet stones, people do. Wait, actually, I have a stone if I can find it. It's a pride rock. That's okay.
Does it talk though?
No, it's just like a rock that has a rainbow painted on it.
Haram. Rainbow is LGBT. Haram.
But Allah made the rainbow in the nature. I'm just kidding. All right, let's go.
Okay. I'm gonna post a link again. When should we take the next caller?
We should take 1 or 2 more slides till the talking section's done.
Okay. I can't see the slide numbers here. Okay. So let's finish the talking section. Let me know when you get to callers then. Okay. I don't know the slide we're on.
Talking tree plays hide and seek with genies. Ya Allah, what is this? What is in the Yasir Qadi voice? What is all this going on? So who informed the Prophet about the jinns at the night when they heard the Quran? He said, your father Abdullah informed me that a tree informs the Prophet of Allah. Subhanallah. It's mind-boggling that this guy is talking to genies, and not only that, the genies he's not sure if they're there, so the tree's telling him at the same time, hey Muhammad, there's a genie right there. Now, isn't it funny? It's very similar to the Day of Judgment when the trees and the stones will yell, "Hey, there's a Jew hiding behind me!"
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, what is this thing? This guy's talking to genies and trees at the same time. Subhanallah, indeed.
Yeah, that's weird, eh? Like it's not like it's like the tree told him, the talking tree told him about the magical fairies. Like that's like
When you
weird.
put it like that.
Very logical religion. Most, the funny thing is, I used to believe this was the most logical religion. I mean, everybody believes that. That's another myth we have to smash, that we're gonna smash right now. Most
yeah.
rational religion, my ass. This is
Oh.
like debunking of the most rational religion right here. Right? Like
You
this is
will-
none of this is rational.
And we're only on slide what, 18?
We better keep going, right?
Oh, there's talking food now? And moist fingers. Okay, that sounds weird. Let's see, what is this? We used to eat food with the messenger of Allah, and we would hear the food's tasbih. So you take a food bite and you're like, Subhanallah. The food says Subhanallah, Allahu Akbar, Alhamdulillah with every bite. So, like it doesn't end. The absurdity just, like, okay, I get it, you like the talking birds. Okay, I get it, you like the talking cows and wolves. Okay, now food. Okay, trees. And then what's funny?
Yeah, go ahead.
It doesn't stop. It said the prophet was brought a container, so he's like, "Oh, let's put my hand in the water," and then it came out, and everybody had enough water. One container fed the whole tribe. So there was this meme that they're like these small like water taps on the fingertips of mom.
And we gotta make this clear that this is not just. I mean, this is the Quran too and the hadith combined. Both have the same absurdity. I mean, some of the absurdity in the hadith is like next level, but it's in the Quran too. Like we're quoting Quran, not just hadith. It's all over the place, right? I love this.
So go ahead.
I love this comment. A tree is in the isnad. Narrated from my Abdullah that the tree told him that the prophet told him that there was jinns.
Oh man. Okay, that's funny. That is very funny.
Hadith science 101. Trees and jinns can be narrators too.
Oh boy, it's like on Omar on Shajar on Shajar on Jinn. Reading the Isnad. Muhammad heard from the tree, who heard from genie, who heard from the shaitan. Oh boy.
But the jinn got stoned by the shooting star, so he didn't get the message.
Oh boy, man, this is hilarious. Like, how do you... Let's take a call before we have an aneurysm.
Okay, I'm going to take the calls in order. Magnets Travel, hello.
Hello, how are you?
How are you doing, man?
Good, thank you.
Yeah. So I was going through with my one relative in Oklahoma. He's a doctor, like around 50 years old, around, and I was going through with him, and everything. He all the time he comes on the hell thing and afterlife hell thing, and I couldn't find like something short so I can send him because on the hell. I don't know what's the history and like that. So all the time he's coming on, whatever I send him, he's coming on like afterlife and hell. That's all. He's not moving anywhere.
So we did a whole episode on hell and heaven, actually 2 episodes, one dedicated to each.
Yeah. I saw the yesterday one.
I think what he's saying, Gondal, is that no matter what he says, this guy's saying, but what about hell? The thing is, brother, you can't convince everybody. I'm just frankly speaking, there's just going to be people that don't want to listen. If you're telling this guy stuff and he doesn't want to know, he may just react in a way that just, like, I'm not interested. So we're only here to help the people that want to be helped. Like we're doing this work for for the sake of a better world, not the sake of Allah, but the sake of a better world. And we can't help everybody. We can only help people that want to be helped at the end of the day. So, you know, like maybe he doesn't want to know. If he does, then if he wants to know, I mean, hell is made up. That's not really a response.
Yeah.
Oh, look at these problems with the Quran. Oh, but hell. That's not
Yeah.
even that's not an argument, right?
Yeah. So he comes all the time. You know, I'm worried about I'm not worried about like this life is only like 70 years old. You can live 70, 80 years old, but I'm worried about the afterlife. So I'm saying where the afterlife is. There's no evidence, and everything I'm telling you, I'm telling, and he is just coming again and again on that thing. And plus, he was
Yeah.
coming on the moral. So I sent him the moral thing, and I said, "What about the slavery? Who gave?" I told him like the religion hijacked the morality, and but where's the morality? We have all the morality nowadays. If you read the Charter of Human Rights, the UN Charter of Human Rights, there's a 30 clause, and that's all. You can write it in 2 pages. So why you need 1,000 pages of nothing? You know,
Yeah.
we are much better than like it's never been anything be written like that 2 pages before that. Nothing can compare that thing.
Yeah, I mean, definitely what we have today in terms of human rights is far better than any holy book from the past, for sure. I agree with you.
Yeah, and it's only two pages, 30, you know, 30 verses you can say. It's only 30 verses, or you can put in two
You
pages
know,
and yeah.
we
I,
should turn the Charter of Human Rights into a surah like it in Arabic.
Yeah.
that's
Oh
a great
yeah,
idea.
that will be great.
That's a
That's
great
gonna be
idea.
very, very good. Yeah, that's a very
Yeah.
good idea.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'll work
We'll
on
do that.
it.
Yeah, you'll start work on that. That will be a great thing, you know.
Okay, thank you so much for
Okay,
your call and
thank you so
comments.
much. Have a nice
Thank
time. Yeah,
you.
thank you. Bye.
You
Thank you.
too,
Bye.
All
sir.
Bye.
right. Ray, I can't add you. You don't have any devices connected. Rafael, hello.
Hello.
Hello guys, can you hear me?
Yes, you can.
Yes.
So I wanted to bring a very ridiculous hadith up about breastfeeding.
Oh,
Yeah,
I think we have it.
Gondal, no.
I think we have it
We
in the
have it later.
presentation.
Yeah.
Yeah, guys. But the interesting thing about this is most Muslim apologists, especially the Sunni ones, because of it's a Sunni hadith, right? And
Mhm.
in Sahih Bukhari, I think. And they always say that, so the hadith is about that the Prophet orders a woman to breastfeed an adult, basically, who already had a beard. So that I think that he can go in his house in and out. So he will be her mahram. It's
Oh,
about
this is
that.
about Abu Hudayfa, right?
Yeah,
Something.
exactly. Abu
Hmm.
Hudayfa, his wife. It's about his wife. So the Prophet ordered his wife to breastfeed an adult called Salim, so that Salim can go in and out of her house. Excuse my English. I'm not sorry. It's not my native language, but
No problem.
yeah, and
Yes, this is a common hadith used by I guess Christian apologists bring it up a lot. And
and
I do,
she has also.
yeah, I was gonna say Sunnis don't, as far as I know, don't actually do that. Like I
It was
haven't heard of,
abrogated anymore. Yeah.
yeah, I don't know
Like
why.
cancel it.
Like I never heard of
I wish I was a Muslim in the early days of Islam. It'd be halal titty section.
yeah. Thanks
But
for your call. Is there anything else you want to add? But because we do have a lot more slides actually on funny, hilarious
oh
things.
yeah, sorry, but I just wanted to add that most of the Muslim apologists say that she didn't directly breastfeed
You
him.
put in the cup.
Yeah. But the funny thing is, the Salafi scholars like Sheikh al-Albani and Sheikh Ishaq al-Hawaini, I don't know if you heard about him, those two guys said in an audio that it was directly. that it was directly, and that there is nothing sexual about breastfeeding or a woman showing her nipple and stuff like that. You really
What?
should
'Cause
check it out. It's on YouTube. It's
That's very
video
weird
about
because that goes against the idea of modesty. Right?
guys.
But then again,
guys,
the
guys,
slaves
you won't believe
no
that
shirts.
if you hear that. You won't believe that. Sheikh Al-Hawani, he's from Egypt. He says that she breastfed him directly, and all the guys who say no, it's not directly, they lie. They feel just ashamed. Like this guy,
Interesting. Yeah.
this sheikh is straightforward, like
Well,
Sheikh Al-Albani also. So you should definitely check this out.
there's another variation. Well, in the future, what ended up happening was Aisha took this as a precedent that she could breastfeed anybody, but she didn't have milk of her own, so she sent it to her sisters. It's so ridiculous.
And the Shias, they say she did that so that a strange man can go in and out, like in her house after the Prophet's death, so that she might did something. I don't know. With them.
I mean, she was young, so I wouldn't put it past her, and she's already been in a scandal.
Yeah. Yeah, but
all right. Thanks for your comment.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for calling.
Bye, guys.
Thank you. Bye. I'm just looking it up on Islam QA. It does say that Al-Qutubi and a number of other scholars understood this verse can only occur. Well, the mahram relationship that is the same as the mahram relationship to blood ties can only occur within the first 2 years, because according to the Quran, you can only breastfeed in the first 2 years, and it says this is the view of Zuhri, Qatada, Ash-Shabi, Sufyan al-Thawri, al-Wazai, al-Shafi, Ahmed, Ishaq, Abu Yusuf, Muhammad, and Abu Dhar. So just to not strawman Islam, because I don't like to misrepresent what Muslims actually believe. This is a very, very fringe opinion of this Egyptian sheikh that you mentioned, because I just looked it up just to be on the safe side, because I know as a Muslim I've never ever like heard of this happening. I know the hadith is there, but people have to realize that the hadith being there doesn't always translate into an actual ruling, right? Because it can be abrogated, or it could be like whatever. There's so many ways, right? So just to be fair, yeah, this is not.
It was 10 sucklings, then it became 5 sucklings.
Yeah.
So imagine you have to so if he's, oh my God, just to think about it, if he's saying that it has to be literal sucklings, so you have to go to the lady 10 times to suck her nipples to get the milk. And even if it's not literal suckling, even if it's like you put in a cup, it is absurd. You go to the lady 10 times to drink her milk, so she what are you trying to do?
That's weird. Yeah. I want to share the slides again.
Okay.
Boop. Okay. Oh yeah, we did this.
So we went through the moist fingers.
Oh man, this
magic spit water trick. Ooh. So we were in the company of the Prophet, and the number was, so there was about 1,400 people with Muhammad. And they camped at a well, and it was dry. So they informed Allah's messenger, of course, and he magically comes he got like toot in the well, and and he leaves it, and then it fills up with the water. And not only did the people drink, their riding animals all finished it. So Muhammad spat in a well, and about 1,400 humans. So and all of their animals drank it. This is some weird magic spit, holy spittle, the holy divine spittle.
Disgusting.
Muhammad's spit makes an appearance over and over and over again. You will see. Angel army. It's kind of like the. So here is talking about one instant where it says, "We will reinforce you with 3,000 angels." But we instead did it with 5,000, and then they had these markings of distinction on them. So I can imagine that the Muslims are fighting in the war, and then these angels come wearing, I don't know, these bandanas or something with color coded, or like these armbands, so they know who's who. So the angels don't confuse and kill the Muslims. I don't know what the point was that, or the Muslims know.
That's true. The Muslims don't even know what these people are, right?
Yeah, we're just fighting, and these like thousands of angels are coming out. Right, yeah. But it's just bizarre just seeing this whole thing. And the funny thing is, like, angels came and helped in Badr when the Muslims won, but when they lost, Allah was not sending the angels, although He had promised He would. Right, so
and
so funny.
And hold on a second. Here's another funny thing. It's a specific number, 3,000 and 5,000. Like, why? Like, what does it matter? You can send 5. That would be enough.
You can send one Gabriel who covers the whole
You can
horizon with
send
the
one.
600 wings.
Like 5,000 angels. Like, what kind of stupid angels are these? It's not a
Or
very
like
good
what,
at fighting
1,000
people.
Qurayshis? You need 5,000.
This is so ridiculous. Right? Anyways, fine,
Allah
fine.
needs to work on his U.S. military can train the angels.
Yeah.
What is this progeny of Satan? So here it says, we said to the angels, prostrate to Adam, and they prostrated, except for Iblis. He was of the jinn. So what they're telling him, and then you'll take from him and his descendants as allies. So apparently, Satan has a whole lineage, a whole army. Like, like there's a lot of angels, there's a lot of Satan, the big Satan, there's his chief of army staff, his chief of family affairs, and then there's his whole little army. So that's interesting that there's a whole army of Satans. Man, there's an army of genies. So there's how many mythical creatures have we gone in so far? So we have genies existing with their whole absurd. They can have sex with humans and all possess humans, shape shift, teleport. Then there's these angels that have wings and they fly around with 600 wings, carrying messages from God, cutting up people's chests to clean their hearts out. And now we have Satan, and then angels are fighting in the battles. Like, I could actually write a whole fantasy novel out of this, honestly.
Sounds like Lord of the Rings. It does sound like Lord of the
Exactly.
Rings. It's like Warcraft or something. Seriously. It's like that movie. Seriously. This
Oh,
one
man,
was
let's go.
hilarious. Allah has a boat.
I'll let you do this.
Amazing. Right? Like, like he had a throne on the water. I mean, if it's on the water, it's pretty much a boat, right?
So Allah is like riding on a boat. And it's funny is, it was the throne was floating upon the water before Allah had created the universe. So this is before the Big Bang. Somehow H2O is existing, and Allah's. What's the point? The point is that this is again a clear borrowing from the water creation myths that we see in other mythologies in the past. Now, what's funny is it gets worse. On the hadith you read is, I said, "O Messenger of Allah, where was our Lord before He created His creation?" So the Messenger said, "He was above the clouds, below which was air, and above which was air and water. Then He created His throne above the waters." What is this? Something celestial ocean floating, and Allah just writing it. Like, come on.
Yeah, and just to be fair, this is a Hassan Hadith, but this is the mythology of the world that they believed in. They used to believe there was an ocean in the sky. I mean, it makes sense. Where does rain come from? It must be an ocean in the sky, right? There's an ocean below us, there's an ocean above us. And we see the same thing in the Bible. The firmament was open and the water came out. And I mean, it's very 7th century for sure, right? The ocean in the skies. Hold on a second. Oh, yeah. Can't Allah do a Thanos snap?
No, watch what happens next. You thought only Allah has a boat? You thought only Allah has a boat? Go next time.
Hold on, there's another comment. So Adam was on. So Allah was on cloud 9.
Oh Lord.
Satan
has a boat too. Oh my God. Satan's like, you, Allah have a boat. I'm gonna get myself big boat, big Titanic. So look at this hilarious. This is insane Muslim. Iblis places his throne upon the water. He then sends detachments. So so this is the HQ, the Satan HQ on the water island or something.
Yeah, and if people are kind of wondering why, like, I was confused about this too. A lot of us modern people, modern Muslims, were confused about this whole water thing. Like, why would there be water? Because we know the world wasn't water before, right? And what I finally understood is when I was watching Crash Course Mythology, is that a lot of ancient peoples have these myths of coming from water. Because when you look at the ocean, all you see is water, and it goes on forever and ever. It seems to be going on forever and ever. And on top of it, They didn't know that the Earth was round and a globe. So when they see the water and they see that the water has been there and they haven't been there for a long time, but the water has always been there the whole life. This just sort of makes them feel like, this is maybe that's what it was. It was always water, and that's why we have Allah's throne was on water, and then in other creation myths, again, the earth came out of water. So there's a lot of things like that because of the way that the ancients used to look at the world.
Mm-hmm. And you can see like it's repeated over and over again. And what's funny here is it's almost like they have these parallels. Like Allah does something, Satan's gonna be the same thing but counteract it and try to imitate Allah, and so he has.
Yeah. and it doesn't like the implication of it being a throne means it can't move, so it's like a standing boat. Literally, it's like a houseboat. It's not a boat that actually
well, I don't know if he has like engines or jet engines in the back or something.
It's eight angels, eh? It's like 8 angels.
It's right here. It's the next slide. All right, perfect. This one is very funny because it doesn't matter if it's 8 angels or 10 angels or 5 angels. Allah doesn't even need angels. He's all powerful. He can float by himself.
You would think it would be 4.
Yeah, it's
like
4 corners, but Allah is an octagon, okay? Octagon throne.
Oh my.
Your camera cut.
Yeah, I know. I think.
So one of the things about this verse is, if you read the Arabic, the word 8 is at the end. وَالْمَلَكُ وَالْعَرْجَ هِيَ فَيَحْمِلُ عَرْشَ رَبِّكَ فَوْقَهُمْ يَوْمَئِذٍ ثَمَانِيَةٌ. The word thamaniya is what means 8. Now, this is solely put there to hold the rhyme. Because if you notice the verses before and after, it's the rhyme that's maintained because of the word thamaniya. It could be 12 angels, 10 angels. Theologically, it's no change, no difference. You can clearly see why this was added here. And you can see that in the tafsir of Jalalain, it says,
sorry, I missed that. Why was it added? I didn't get that.
So if you were to read the ayat before and after, or the whole theme of the rhyme of the surah, the word thamaniya, the word 8, is just there to hold the rhyme. Because theologically, 8 has no importance. It could be 7.
Oh my. Are you serious?
Yeah. If you show it to the people, Surah 69, let's just look at the verses so see.
Okay, yep.
Yeah, just those 2, 3 ones.
69, 17?
Yeah.
17, right?
So as you can see, like we'll start from يوم يزيو وقعت الواقعة.
Yep.
وانشقت السماء فهي يومئذ واهية.
Yep.
والملك والأرض يحمل يومئذ ثمانية. So that ثمانية, واهية, واقية, خافية, the next one, they all rhyme. And ثمانية is very important to hold the rhyme.
Kitabiya.
Yeah.
Hisabiya.
So that's one thing I noticed too, that it could be 7.
Radiya, Aliya. Yeah, you're right. Amazing. This is wow. That's a fantastic point. I didn't even know that. That's really interesting. All right, should we take more callers? Now's a good time.
Let's take a few callers.
Hey Ray, I know you've been trying to get on for a bit. I'm annoying.
Hello.
Yo, bro. What's up?
What's up, man? How's it going?
What's on your mind? What about you?
Good. Thanks.
Yeah. So, firstly, I'm not really going to talk about the hadith, but just the one about the dogs and the women and all that. I mean, if you go to Bukhari, Volume 1, Book 9, 490, I mean, it kind of shows that it wasn't the Prophet saying that.
So, say that again. Okay, say that again.
I'll type it.
Okay.
The one about the cutting of the dog and stuff is actually narrated by a few different sources.
Oh, you're talking about the prayer. Oh, why?
Yeah. So I'll explain. It's got a few narrations to it, so it's not just one-off. It's actually often reported by different Sahabis, and then there's a counter report by Aisha claiming that no, the Sahabis all collectively misheard them, even though she wasn't even there when this happened. And then there's like the back and forth that I was standing in front of the Prophet and he was praying and I just pulled my legs and his prayer continued. His prayer wasn't invalidated. And then there's another opinion where it's just for women who are not your mahram can do the invalidation, right? So there's variation.
Ray, I do have a reference, another reference for you.
Mhm.
That is a Sahih reference in Jami' Tirmidhi that says it was directly from the Prophet. It says, I was one of those who held the branches. So he was shading the Prophet while he was doing the khutbah. So I guess they didn't have air conditioning back then. And he said, if it were not that dogs were a nation, and I would order that they would be killed. So kill everyone among them that is black. And then saying, if you keep a dog, not they, I mean, he is saying, if you keep a dog. So like Gondal was saying, there's more than one hadith on this. So, but yeah, maybe for that specific point about the
Yeah,
dog
exactly.
breaking prayer,
Like we can go back and forth on that. I don't think in that case we'd make much progress. But
Okay,
I
yeah,
wanted to
I found
talk
a
about
bunch actually. Yeah, so I can
Sorry,
look
so
on that
at.
specific hadith. I don't think.
what was your point though? Your point was it's not a good hadith?
No, I was saying that what's it called? I was just pointing out this hadith, and then there's a lot of different different hadith saying
Yeah.
that, and yeah. So I mean,
Yeah,
you guys
like,
have better points. So I was just pointing out this one. But anyways, I was
actually, yeah,
saying,
just
I
to be
wanted to
fair.
say, yeah.
How about this
Very
one?
good. That's
This
pretty
one says,
clear,
life
yeah.
of the Prophet.
But then I have the counter for it too, where in Sahih
Oh, you do?
Bukhari it says, yeah, I'll just read it out. Do you make us women equal to dogs? Aisha said that, dogs and donkeys. And then she says, I used to lie in my bed and the Prophet would come and pray facing in the middle of the bed. And I didn't stand in front of him. I used to slip away slowly, but his prayer wasn't severed. So
No,
there's
yeah,
that one.
that's the one I was. That's the
Exactly.
what's it called? That's what I was quoting.
Yeah.
It's in this hadith. It says that they said to Aisha that these three things invalidate the prayer, and then Aisha says to them, "Do you think we're donkeys or something like that?" That's essentially what she said to them as a reply to them.
So what I was trying to say was that when Muhammad made those statements that this cut off by a dog, woman, and donkey, he said that when Aisha was not there, but a lot of multiple different male Sahaba heard that. Now they brought it to Aisha, and Aisha objected with her own reasoning later on. It doesn't mean that Muhammad didn't say it. It's just that she says, no, in her opinion, that's that. And you see this trend a lot where you have these Abu Huraira group and clan with one type of hadith, and then Aisha clan is with another. And it goes back down to like the history of hadith, and there's a lot of concoctions. And one of the reasons that I feel like why Aisha has narrated so many hadith despite being so young is because they can just attribute stuff to her, put her in her mouth, and say she said it. There's a very big chance of happening, right?
I was gonna say that. Yep. Sorry. Go ahead. Finish. And then I'll talk.
That was my point. So there's a lot of back and forth, and you can then the point then goes back to the hadiths itself, and I can show you numerous sahih hadith within Bukhari that contradict Muslim. Like, do you know which eye the Cyclops or Dajjal is blind in? Because one hadith in Bukhari says right, and the other in Muslim says left. So you don't know, but it definitely says he's blind in one eye. So there are these kind of contradictions everywhere. But then again, like this, the hadith
I agree with you. I agree with you, but I think for this one, it's pretty much conjecture, you know.
I was gonna say, with the hadith, you know, maybe it's possible that out of those three things, maybe he didn't say women, maybe he said dogs and donkeys, and someone else added women. But it just goes to show you that to this day we have hadith books with recollections that can't be trusted. Because we don't know, you know, if Aisha's. I mean, I'm kind of leaning towards what Gondal is saying, that Aisha was wrong here, and that, you know, her criticism of the hadith is probably not correct because there's a bunch of them, and we know. But maybe it is. I mean, at the end of the day, we're not Muslim, and we don't really care about the fiqh of it. But just as a point of contention, it just goes to show you that even the companions themselves had arguments about hadith. Started 1400 years ago, and now imagine after 1400 years, damn, like that is going to be amplified. Those problems, they're going to snowball over time. They're not going to get better over time. They're going to get worse.
The point is there was no need for Muhammad to ever compare women with donkeys and dogs in the first place, even if he retracted it later on, because we have to understand that the Quran says وَمَا يَنْتِقُ عَنِ الْهَوَىٰ إِنْ هُوَ إِلَّا وَحْيٌ يُوحَىٰ, that he does not speak from himself, he speaks only what is revealed to him, especially religious matters. So you're trying to at one point say, if he did say the dogs and women or donkeys are equal, well, that means he got it from Allah. And then Aisha saying, and then he maybe retracted because the hadith that later on he was okay with him passing if he put an izar or that barrier in front. So like I said, it's just problematic. Why does this nonsense even exist in the best religion and the epitome of like?
No, but the hadith I gave you, essentially, it wasn't the Sahaba saying it to her. It was a group of uneducated or like people who weren't the Sahaba.
Oh yeah. Oh no. I understand. I totally understand that there's a discussion between Sahaba. But yeah, it's just going in circle at that point.
But yeah, that wasn't that was just like the only hadith I wanted to comment on. But
yeah,
the other stuff about the Quran, yeah. So you can't take supernatural parts of the Quran and say, okay, that's not why it's false. I mean, you can obviously do that just to make fun of it, and I'm sure you have other reasons to believe why it's false. But I mean, I can't just open the Hindu scriptures and then look at the stories and then say it's false because of this, even if it's wild. There's other.
Okay. I'll ask you a simple question: do angels exist, and can you prove me they talk to humans? That's the fundamental supposition of religion. Because if you can't prove that, then I have no reason to accept any of your supernatural premises. I don't need to give you any benefit of the doubt. I need to analyze your book. So here's something you understand. Like, as an atheist or an outsider, I'm not going to look at the Quran and try to analyze from its own circular logic and circular explanations it has created for itself. No, I'm going to find a book and I'm going to be like, okay, this book has XYZ claims about this, and this. Okay, this actually fits in with a lot of previous mythologies. The stories are copied over. And from a very holistic view, you can easily determine that, man, this isn't from God. Like, come on.
Yeah, we can see the evolution of the stories too.
Yes, exactly. You'll see all of it.
Yeah,
no,
like
one thing I want.
You can analyze the claims made by the Quran. You can look at the prophecies. You can look at the prophecies in the Bible.
Exactly.
You can look at all these different things to see that.
Yeah, exactly.
Can I ask you a question? Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Do you think it's possible that Ganesh was really a man that, was it Shiva or Krishna came back? I forgot which god it was. And he saw this beautiful young man with his wife. So he got angry, he chopped off his head. And then his wife was like, you killed a son. He's like, that's a son? Like, and she's like, yeah, you made me pregnant before you left. And he's grown up now and he's a big man. And the guy's like, oh crap. And he went and he found an elephant, chopped off the elephant's head and put it on the head of the boy. And that's a Ganesh. Do you believe that's possible? Is that possible?
I don't believe in Hinduism.
No. You just said that you don't believe in Hinduism, but you're saying it could be possible because it's a supernatural claim and we shouldn't deny supernatural claims. You just said that.
I mean, you can't verify any.
If the prophet cut off the head of a companion and he put an elephant head on it, and that elephant head became his best friend, is that if you read that in the hadith book, you'd believe it?
No.
What? Why not? You're believing every other thing in the hadith book. That doesn't make as much sense as that.
I mean, it depends on whether the hadith is sahih and all that.
Okay. Sahih. Okay, I'll ask you a very sahih hadith. I'll open it. Do you believe Muhammad talked to stones? I'm going to ask you explicit yes or no questions. Okay.
I don't know.
There is a hadith in Sahih Muslim that Muhammad used to hear stones talking to him. I'm sorry. Do you believe that to be true?
I would have to look at the hadith and then.
Well, I'm showing it to you on screen right now.
Yeah.
It's in Sahih Muslim.
I mean, I guess, yeah.
I'm wondering why you're even doubting it if it's in the hadith. I mean, as a Muslim, you have to accept the hadith, right?
Yeah. So, and the thing is, now here's something: if you doubt Sahih Muslim, then you doubt basically all of Sunni Islam, because the hadith in Sahih Muslim are in doubt. Then Bukhari goes under the truck, and then like that, all other books, right? So, what I'm asking you: do you explicitly believe that stones talk to Muhammad?
If this hadith is true, then yeah.
Okay, let's go to another one. Do you think let's ask some questions? Let's go to another hadith.
By the way, I hope you don't mind, right? Like we're just having a conversation here. So if you don't feel comfortable,
it's fine.
Yeah.
Like
just feel free and say
I don't know much about hadith and everything, But I
Okay.
was just trying to explain to you that it doesn't make sense to look at supernatural things in the Quran and then based off that you say, okay, yeah,
Of
this is
course
not
not.
true because we
No,
can't
no, no. This isn't
empirically
the
verify.
primary argument. This has never been the primary argument. I'll give
Mhm.
you an idea. Like,
Yeah,
I
that's
have
fine. Then
criticised
that's
the
fine.
Quran from a preservation perspective, from a theological perspective, from a moral perspective, from the perspective of how it was revealed, a neuroscience perspective, and
Yeah, that's
now
perfectly
I'm
fine.
coming to this perspective, right? So when you holistically view things, yes, it's very easy to see it, for me at least.
Yeah, I see what you mean. I know what you mean. I get what you mean.
But
That's
yeah, like
perfectly
do
fine.
watch this presentation because I think you missed out on a bunch of the hadith that we've already gone over that are. I'm going to ask you one more thing. Do you believe that cows and wolves can talk?
Where does it say that? Like, wait, show me the
Let's show
hadith.
you. Yeah, right. I
Yeah.
want to do this with you live. There you go. The next one. Oh,
1 second.
yeah, there you go. Talking cows and wolves. Okay, it says Sahih al-Bukhari. So the in-book reference is book 6138. We're showing you on screen right now, if you can look.
Okay.
Did you get it?
Yeah, wait, I'm reading it. 1 second. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Sorry.
fine.
So you believe that?
Yeah.
Okay. So do you notice a pattern here? Like you yourself were struggling and hesitant at first to even acknowledge that these things could exist in your religion because you know you're better than that and you're smarter than that.
No.
But when we're pointed out,
it's literally because I have not seen these hadith. That's all.
so maybe you might realize something that after looking at the magnitude of the absurdity, because at first, when I first talked to you about these questions, you, I don't know, I'm unsure, because your initial instinct tells you that this can't be true. It's
Yeah, I know,
only
but
when
from the
you're told
primary
as part
claims-
of your
Look,
religion, then
from the primary claims, I can see that Muhammad is a true prophet. So I mean, isn't this kind of irrelevant? Like you said, it's a secondary argument.
So we talked about the epistemology part a while back as well. And that was the same thing I'm addressing again, that if you claim that Muhammad is the prophet, then you can justify anything and everything. Like anybody else could claim that, hey, I believe my prophet is true, and they can justify anything and everything. The point is when you're an academic and an outsider, you don't analyze the book with its inwards and internal logic, because that's circular. You have to pitch it against something outside of the book. Even the Quran admits that when it says, "Afala taqilun, afala yaqilun," don't you use your brains? When Allah says that, Allah is reducing human rationality as the base and then using that to analyze the Quran.
Okay.
So there's a lot of things when, well, I call this as the unfalsifiable fallacy, where Russell's teapot comes to mind, where if I say that, hey, there's this teapot floating between the Earth and the Moon, orbiting the Earth, but it's super, super, super tiny that no telescope can detect it. But it's still there, and I believe it's there. Can you disprove to me if it's not there? And if you can't disprove to me, then it exists.
I see what you mean. Wait,
yeah, so this is a.
Are you saying that you're saying that the Quran cannot prove itself?
Oh no, that's no way. Yeah. You should never use any holy book. You should never use any holy book to prove itself. That's circular reasoning. It's like saying Allah is the prophet of God, Muhammad is the prophet of God because the Quran says so, and Quran is the word of God because Muhammad says so.
No, I'm not.
And Muhammad,
I'm not saying that. I'm saying it poses certain challenges, and if those challenges aren't met, that can be used as proof.
Yeah, but I don't see. Yeah.
That's a
but
fair.
then again, you then admit.
You guys would disagree. You guys would disagree. You guys would say that obviously these challenges are. Yeah, go on.
Again, as soon as it challenges us, it also admits that our rationality has a basis in validity to judge its veracity, i.e., the Quran's truth.
Yeah, and so yeah, I agree. I agree with what Ray is saying here, that the Quran makes certain challenges, and if the challenges are not met, I mean, even if the Quran didn't make those challenges, even without those challenges, we can just analyze it to see is it internally consistent. Because the Quran makes certain claims that it's internally consistent, that it's externally consistent, meaning that whatever it says actually happened. that it's every single statement in the Quran is true and actually happened, and basically this, you know, it's a miracle and all that, so it's from God. And if there's even one statement that is incorrect, just one, that means the whole book has to be thrown out, right? And then the Quran also says it's preserved. Allah is preserving it, so if it's not preserved, we throw it out as well. So of course, you know, there's a thousand reasons why we don't believe in Islam. This is just showing the absurdity of the stories in the Quran is just one, and again, it's not the primary method.
Yeah, you see, I wasn't trying to prove anything. I was just saying that you can use the Quran itself, and you can use all the other source material to verify it. It doesn't have to be. I was just saying that these miracles, quote unquote miracles, right, as you guys say, they can't really be used as an argument, you know.
So
I mean, I get your
what's
point.
the point of miracles? What's the point?
What do you mean?
What's the point of miracles? Why does Allah perform miracles?
To prove to people at that time that whatever prophet is telling the truth or whatever, or for different reasons.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. We'll end the call at that, but that was a great conversation.
Yeah, thanks.
I really liked the conversation. It was nice that we did dive deeper into topics like epistemology and how, from basic assumptions, how to analyze scriptures. That was really good. But again, at the end, my last question was to point out that the whole point of doing miracles is Allah is trying to prove to the human mind outside of the scripture that, look, out there than the scripture, there's this miracle. Anyways, let's get a move on.
Wait, last thing.
Okay. Yeah. Sure.
Yeah. So obviously, in the past, there were different miracles that were performed. Jesus could perform different miracles. Moses had different miracles, but the Quran claims that it itself is the miracle, and it poses challenges, right?
Yes, it does.
And obviously, you disagree with those, so that's fine. So
we have specific responses to the stories in the Quran have been copied from sources available to Muhammad. For example, the Yajuj and Majuj thing never happened. The preservation never. It wasn't. The Quran is not preserved. This whole holes in the Quran narrative thing is real. The whole challenge of make another surah like it. There's tons of surahs written like it. That
I disagree with the make a surah like it thing. I don't think that one's been addressed.
Okay, so I'll explain to you. I'll ask you a question just to be very quick.
Yeah.
Does the Quran stipulate what exactly are the objective points that challenger needs to meet like pass the challenge? Does the Quran stipulate any of those?
One second. Well, I mean, in this case, I mean, I obviously can't explain it well. I mean, I'm not very eloquent or anything, but we can look at. I mean, we can infer from history that what's it called?
Okay, here I'll ask you another question. Languages, the way they evolve, like you're speaking English, right? English has words from French and other languages over the course of years, and in essence, you can say that languages are actually constantly evolving. Right. So when the Arabic of the Quran was revealed, the Quranic Arabic was contingent upon these same very principles of borrowing and whatnot from many other languages, Aramaic, Syriac, whatnot. Muhammad did it too. In fact, Muhammad would arbitrarily carry words over to the Quran and then give them a new meaning and even just put words there to maintain rhyme. Now, if Muhammad is allowed such privileges under the subjectivity of language, can the challenger not use that? What is stopping me from writing a phrase that's half in Arabic, half in Urdu, and one word in English? Because the Quran doesn't stipulate any objectivity on the challenge. The Quran,
there's no conditions for this challenge.
So
what? Just a surah like it, and when people write surahs like it, sometimes Muslims will say, "Oh, it borrows too much from the style of the Quran." Or they'll say it's not enough like the Quran. It's a subjective challenge. It's a troll.
And the Quran borrows from pre-Islamic poets. So
the challenge is trolling.
That's not true. The fact that it borrows from Islamic poets.
You cannot win this challenge because it's not an objective challenge. It's not about how much weight can you lift. It's not about can you draw a certain thing with this much depth. It's just make a book like it. And is anybody's book like anybody's? Can you write a book like me? I don't even know if anyone can write a book exactly like I can. It's just,
in essence, it's a challenge of beauty.
Okay, then why couldn't the Arab poets who were there at the time?
They did though. They did though. That's the
masters
thing.
the language. Why couldn't they do it?
They did. They did though. That's the thing. And also, like, if it's just a pretty book in a pretty language, in essence, the Quran has some parts that are beautiful. I'll admit, the Amma Para. But then, if you look at the content of some of them, it's just kind of absurd. It's a pretty book with good poetry, but a lot of stories.
So
That's
you're saying, how do you know that they didn't? How do you know that
show
they
me.
didn't?
Like, just show me. Obviously, you can.
Well,
you
this
guys
is
can
the
show
problem.
me
The problem is that the majority of this information that we're getting has been preserved by Muslims. Even Mufti Abu Layth has admitted this. He said that the problem with this challenge is that the victors, meaning the Muslims, are the ones who decided what hadith was preserved. And of course, what did they choose to preserve? The most silliest, poetry of Musaylima, like it's an elephant and has a ropey tail, and it's like the silliest things they come up with. There was another man by the name of I think his name was Abdullah ibn Abi Salt, and he has a bunch of poetry that was actually like Quranic / biblical prophecies, Day of Judgments. But the problem is we don't know for sure. A lot of it is fabricated, and we don't know, and scholars don't know like what was actually written by him and what was written by people after the fact, and is being sort of like, I forget the technical word, but they're basically attributing it to him. So unfortunately, based on the way history, just like, when you look at science, when someone asks why is there not a lot of fossils, you need the exact conditions for a fossil to be saved. It has to be preserved right away. It has to be covered with a certain type of soil or whatever. The majority of fossils, we'll never find them because they get destroyed by nature, right? The same thing when it comes to the history of Islamic history. We just don't have the information, because Muhammad killed the poets that were against him. Why would he kill poets? Why would he kill slave girls writing poetry if he was not threatened by it? Why does the Quran keep insisting it's not poetry, it's not poetry, and he is not a poet? Muhammad had a big problem with poets. He sent out people to murder, Ka'b ibn Ashraf, who was writing poetry against him. Slave girls, I think Farhana, and I don't have the full list, but if you look on Islam, there's a big list of people he killed.
So we don't have any of the poetry from that time. Is that what you're saying?
We do have some poetry. I even recited a few surah. This surah Sharik, remember that one?
Yeah.
واللوح الدافق والليل الغاسق والصباح الشارق إن الشجر الوادي لا يهدو ختلا ويحرق ونياب أصلا, something like that. Like, I can recite. That's what I'm saying. This is pre-Islamic. It's allegedly pre-Islamic, and it has the word Najm al-Tariq, which is literally, and Layl al-Ghasiq, Ghasaq al-Layl. It's got so many borrowings from the Quran.
Yeah. So this
is Hafiz.
Yeah, you're Hafiz, man. Oh my God. Okay.
Anyways, thank you. This is a good discussion. Again, obviously, I'm not like I'm not a scholar or anything, so I can't really voice my opinions properly, and I kind of just woke up and all.
Good, man. You did
good. No, that's totally fine. You did good. I really enjoy conversations where I don't have to feel that I'm supposed to be yelling or you're gonna yell at me. We can be civil, agree to disagree, we just did, right? And I appreciate that.
Yeah, thank you so much. So we want to get back to slides though, and because you took so much time, the other caller is gonna have to wait.
Sorry, everybody.
No
no problem. That's a nice conversation. That's the whole point. That's the whole point, right?
Do call again. Thanks. Bye.
See you.
All right, back to slides, and then we'll take the next call.
So let's get back to it. So here's an interesting one where Allah tells us that in the day of judgment, you will come and then you will reach the hair fire, and then their eyes and their hearing. So your ears will start talking, and then your skin will start talking, and then your fingers, your eyes, and then you will be talking back and forth to your body parts. Hey, hands, why are you talking about me? Oh, and it's gonna be just weird. This weird torture anime psycho scene's gonna be going on. Well, let's go on. Okay, so this is shout out to Yasser Qadi first. Okay, Gog and Magog, Yajuj Majuj. And so one thing is this tribe is apparently hidden behind a wall. So the story goes that Dhul-Qarnayn, who is allegedly sometimes known as Alexander the Great, let's just call him the man with two horns. He's going and comes across a tribe, and he's like, oh man, these guys like cause us a lot of trouble. Can you save us? So he's like, yeah, sure, bro, no problem. So I'll erect between you and them a barrier. And then he's like, he gets iron and then he gets like copper or some stuff, and then he melts it and he puts it between the two mountains, and then the Yajuj and Majuj are stuck forever. So apparently this is a legit physical place where he blocked the mountain off. I don't know if it's an underground cave, what it is, if it's just a valley, if it's just some Harry Potter cloaking invisibility cloak tribe that nobody can see and is hidden there. But the whole point is that
Invisibility.
that this tribe's gonna come out right before the day of judgment and annihilate the whole world. And they're like thousands of times more than humans, and if you go into their descriptions, their ears are like blankets that they can fold over and sleep in. It's all bizarre. So Yasser Qadi was like having a hard time believing this, and like now is what I ask again, epistemology. Why did Yasser Qadi not realize that if he believes in Allah and Muhammad, why is he having these doubts about these things, right? Why is he not using the epistemology card and saying, "Oh, I believe in Allah and Muhammad. These aren't an issue." So you're getting it, right? That this still bothers people.
Yeah, and there's a scale here of things that we're talking about. There's things which are verifiable. Like this is one example that you have an intersection of the real world and the supernatural. Do you know what I mean? Like, so when we're talking about walls being created and people being protected, and that's one thing. If we're talking about jinns being shot by invisible, like invisible jinns being shot at, then that's unfalsifiable. So in this case, this is something that actually is a bigger problem than the jinns issue,
Exactly.
for the very reason that it's in the real world.
So
Continue.
then, a few varying opinions on this. So some people say it's the Chinese people. It was because the Great Wall of China. Some people have said that Chinese people are the Gog and Magog, or the Mongols, how they swept over the whole world in the 12th century or whatnot.
Well, it can't be.
And then
right?
Yeah, their judgment didn't come. So then there's another opinion where like Yasser Qadi attributed it to somebody else that he did not name, and that they might be zombies. So Gog and Magog might be zombies coming to take over the world at the end of time. There's some neurological virus or something. So it's kind of interesting that this thing, and it's actually found in the Bible too, if I remember, Gog and Magog as well.
Yeah.
So again, we see another borrowing / weird mythical creature beings coming to destroy the world at the end of the day. It's just as
Gog and Magog are just down the road where the sun sets in a muddy spring. Makes sense. Alexander walled off his. Excellent comment.
That's funny.
Live Evil 34 says Solomon's ring allows us to control jinn, which means we can defeat Gog and Magog.
Oh, that's why they're trying to find his hidden magic stuff and the Temple of Solomon.
Gog and Magog seem to arise from Alexander the Great's legends. Yeah, actually, I don't know if it goes back. I think it's before that, because it's in the Bible. Maybe it is actually from that. That's a good point. I'm not really sure. Yeah, Gog and Magog are in the biblical, but the story from the Quran appears to, yes, obviously, this is correct. Very much so. But there's a little bit, if you do a little bit more research on it, it appears that there's Jewish. I mean, it's so funny. It always goes back to Jewish myths. There's Jewish references to Alexander the Great, and there's the Quranic references to Alexander the Great, and they both appear to be coming from an earlier source, right? So there's a common myth that all of these guys are building off that's actually predates the romance even, right? Which is very interesting. But anyways, that's getting a little bit technical.
Yeah.
One ring, so it's the middle of its story.
Of the story. Oh my god.
Continue?
Yeah, let's go for a few more slides.
Okay.
Cyclops returns. Dajjal, Al-Masih ad-Dajjal, the Antichrist, whatever you want to call him. So, like we were talking about earlier, at the end of time, there's this guy who's gonna come. He is not Masih ad-Dajjal is blind in the right eye, and his other eye looks like a protruding grape. Now, what's funny is this same pattern is switched in another hadith where he's blind in the left eye and his right eye is like a protruding grape. So it's flipped, but either way, there's this guy coming who's gonna have these superpowers. and he's going to raise the people from the dead, and then he's going to make these fake paradise in heaven on earth, and he's going to ride this beast or a donkey around the earth. Some people say it refers to a plane. But yeah, Muslims are waiting for this to happen. This is the climax.
Yeah, waiting for the Mahdi to come, waiting for the Jesus to come
Eye
back.
of Sauron or whatever from
CCTV surveillance.
So this is very important. So as a kid growing up, I was constantly reminded of this. The Kiram and Katibin, the two angels sitting on your shoulders, writing down your deeds. The angel on the right side writes down the good deeds. The angel on the left write down the bad deeds. And then there's this weird thing where if you have bad thoughts or bad dreams, or just before Salah, you're about to start to avoid the bad thoughts, you go two, or you spit on the left side. So I don't know if there's a connection, the left angel being bad or just the left side being bad.
I don't know. Yeah. And you're going to wash the left leg first as well, right?
But it's what's that movie where I think it's The Ring or something, where this lady is sitting on this invisible genie lady ghost is sitting on the person's body the whole time, and he only realizes that at the end of the movie when he stands on a weighing machine when his weight is doubled.
I haven't seen it.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, my favorite, the Buraq, the ancient UFO spaceship, Allah's secret technology that has been causing havoc for millennia, carrying people to heaven on and off, carrying prophets around. So this story is very important, but one thing I want to point out to you is, what is the Buraq? Because some people say it's a beast of unknown majesty and whatever, but we actually get a description in Sahih Muslim. I was then brought a white beast, which is called al-Buraq. It's bigger than a donkey and smaller than a mule. So it's a donkey, horse, mule hybrid kind of thing. And it's white in color. And it strides, so it takes one step. It's so long, its jump, as far as you can see. And Muhammad was mounted on it, and then we went forth till we reached the lowest heaven. Now, some hadith said he rode the beast to Bayt al-Maqdis, and then from there he went on with Gabriel. But this one said that he went to Bayt al-Maqdis and he rode it to the lowest heaven as well. So he actually flew on the horse. So there is that too. Now, another thing is, before this thing began, like, listen to this. I was near the house, a state between sleep and wakefulness, when I heard someone say, "He is the third amongst two persons." Then he came to me and took me with him. So these two people come and they cut Muhammad's chest open, and they have this bowl of Zam Zam water, and then they wash his heart in the water bowl, and then they put it back in. He replied that it was up to the lower part of his abdomen, and then my heart was, and then it's positioned back in the original position. And it was filled with faith and wisdom. Now, the funny part is, heart don't get filled with faith and wisdom because it doesn't do anything, because it's all up here. Obviously, Muhammad didn't know that. So even the metaphor is wrongly placed, if it is a metaphor. This didn't happen once. It happened a few times. Muhammad's chest got open in an almost identical fashion, and it got washed when he was a really young child at the age of 6 or 7. And at that point, his guardians said that he was having a stroke, as what they said. But this whole bizarre story of him then going to heaven and knocking on the first heaven, talking to Abraham, Moses, Jesus, yada yada yada, chit-chatting with them, praying with all these dead people, then having a chit-chat back and forth with 5 or 10 times between Allah and Moses and Allah and Moses, and then having this elaborate vision of heaven and hell where, like, people's lips are being cut up, their heads are being smashed, and these hooties and whatnot. But yeah, that was the night journey of Muhammad, which is what known as Isra al-Miraj. It shows up in the Quran. Subhanallazi asra bi'abdihi laylan min al-masjid al-haram ila al-masjid al-aqsa. And what's also interesting is this story is not exclusive to Islam. Funny thing, Arfavadas was a Zoroastrian priest about 200-300 years before Muhammad, I believe. And he actually had almost an identical journey when an angel came and he rode a beast. He went to heaven, met all these other saints in heaven, and saw heaven and hell, met God, and came back down. What's funny is Imam Bukhari was of Persian origin, and Zoroastrianism is from that region. So it does make sense that that influence could have caused this, let's say, Arabization of this heaven journey. and that made its way into Bukhari and whatnot, because the heaven journey in the Quran is referenced in such a vague manner. Some people say it's almost like the verse was inserted later on. It's only one verse or two.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Fascinating. I didn't know any of this. I'm going to read a couple of comments. We done with this slide?
Yep.
Okay, and then we'll take. We have Ali waiting. So the masked Arab made a great series of great videos about Gog and Magog. That is true. So the calf. Someone's asking, do you know Uthman ibn al-Huwayrith? There's a conspiracy. He was prepared to be a prophet, but was killed by Arabs just before Muhammad. Have you ever heard this before?
Oh no. That's weird.
There's a Victorian area shopping arcade called Gog and Magog.
Yeah, we should actually ask Harris to go there and take a live tour.
I found a Gog and Magog, right? My parents used to tell me my left shoulder was drooping when I did something bad. That's
oh my god, poor kid.
Have you heard that? I never heard of this before. There must be some cultural thing.
Yeah.
The Antichrist, the Dajjal, is short, hand-toed, woolly-haired, one-eyed, sightless, neither protruding nor deep-seated. If you're confused about him, know that your Lord is not one-eyed. Okay, so Allah is two eyes. Thank you, Allah. Or 0 eyes. I don't know. I'm assuming he has no eyes.
Well, Allah shouldn't need eyes. Wait a minute. It makes no sense. Allah is not like us.
It's so
like,
weird.
It's weird. Like
so
the Quran keeps saying that, you know, Allah is not like anything, but then he has a shank and he has a hand and he's like summoned in early. Yeah, it's weird.
2 right hands. Sarah Ash says, you're doing an amazing job. Thank you so much for everything you're doing.
You.
Okay. You, Sarah.
Thank you.
Okay, that's all the comments that we have to read today. All right, let's keep going. So we want to take one call because we have one caller waiting. All right.
Hello.
Ali. Hello, Ali.
Hey, hello. How are you?
Good. How's it
going? Is
that
Ali from earlier again?
Yes. Yeah, actually, it is.
Okay, how's it going?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm good. And by the way, I know if it's getting late or I'm like taking too long, just don't hesitate to stop me right there. I won't mind. But can you hear me?
We'll try to keep it quick if possible. Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, I mean, before letting me go, the last time Gondal did mention that continue to see that, and you'll see how inconsistent it is with the science that we know today. And then later on, I mean, I was to that, I was just about to say that, when you link this stream with our scientific concept, and then comes the question of miracles, then the thing is, miracles, the mu'jiza, that which comes from ajiz, by its very nature, it will be in contradiction with the science that we know, because it's a metaphysical reality, and then we can go there. But the premise itself, where we are talking, is differed.
No,
so,
I totally understand your point, but I'm going to ask you something. Is why does Allah do these absurd and petty miracles and not some substantial ones that can actually be used to be validated? Like, the whole point of miracles is to give humans evidence that there is a God, right?
I mean,
so why doesn't Allah give one to us where it can actually be definitively, without a doubt, proven? Why
and
does
even the ones that, like the one
Okay.
about splitting the moon, like
right?
nobody
No,
saw
so
it.
in this case, I will bring the time, because that's what. And by the way, I'm also not a scholar, but I will maintain the level of the things that I know. So in this case, I will bring up time, because let's see, keeping the circular reasoning aside, if you see the she camel that was given to Saleh, then it was said that a prophet is coming to you with a clear message, and a miracle will be given to this prophet at this time in order for you to take heed and then follow along. And then that miracle comes, and they kill the she camel, and then in the end, it's like the stubbornness is what got the better of them. That's what we take from it. So if the miracle of that time was enough for them, and they're seeing it from their own eyes, but the stubbornness gets better of them, then that's the case of time. Your question about absurdity of those things, I'm not going to get into that. The reason is because it's once again, we're boiling it down to opinions and perspectives. When you say that it contradicts with science, I'm saying it's not related to science at all. But
No, okay,
later
here's the
on,
thing.
with
This
the
is something I need to make this is a distinction that before we go on, because this is a very weird idea that's gone on into religious people's head about science and differentiation of religion. Have to understand that science is a tool that makes claims about reality. Religion also makes claims about reality. They're both different lines in what is ought to be true. Now, the problem occurs is when religion makes claims, let's say virgin birth, it's also making a claim about biology, okay, which is parthenogenesis. Science will tell you that in humans it's impossible, like straight up. In other mammals, in mammals, actually, some other species, yes, right? So when we see that, for example, the Quran will say that Allah created the heaven in this order, okay, in a specific order, which contradicts what modern cosmology tells us. But what's interesting is whenever the Quran describes something that Muhammad could see and feel, it's always okay. Whenever he gets into ideas that he's speculating, he gets it wrong. And this shows that this is just an average 7th century mind. For example, when Muhammad said, look at the dates or these gardens, his descriptions are on point, or how the plants grow and Allah takes the life out and whatnot, or the waves are going away and the water cycle almost. But when he comes to what are the shooting stars? There's fires pelted at genies. How did Allah create the heaven? Oh, he made the heaven earth in 6 days, and after that he created the stars. Do you understand what I'm
okay,
trying to say? So this
no,
I
I understand. Okay, so in this matter, when it comes to the miracles, I mean, it would be okay to say that we agree to disagree. But in the call with that person, Ray, a few a few minutes back, you did mention that this is not the only reason that you don't believe.
Mhm,
So then
mhm.
you said that when you look at it holistically, then you come to that conclusion. Then it is basically at the end of the day a story that we're giving for the reason as to why thing A is not true. But at the same time, there is overwhelming proof
Mhm.
given across history about why the thing A is actually true. So we can go into that, and but
Okay,
my
I think
point
we
was
need
that.
to go to some more bare bones right now. I'm going to ask you a few questions, like I asked the other guy, just to
Can I say a few
cause
things?
it. Cause yeah,
Okay. I have a big problem with this idea that people are given miracles and then they reject them and then they deserve to go to hell. This doesn't make any sense. What I've seen is that when David Blaine goes on TV or even on stage and he shows George Bush like a card that pops out of air, his card that's signed, he's amazed beyond recognition. Like he can't believe what he just saw in front of his eye. And I'm talking about a simple card trick. Now, if I had a true miracle, if I made a she camel, I don't know why it matters as a she camel, but she camel come out of a rock and everybody saw this, and I'm in the not even 7th century, we're talking like way past like, 1st century or even BC. I'm like pretty much claiming to talk to God. You're telling me that human beings would not believe that? And they would say, oh, you're a liar and this and that. And if they did, whose fault is that? That would be the fault of the creator that made those people skeptical. Even in the brain, if you look at the brain science, people have tendencies towards either being skeptical people or being believers, let's call them. And all has to do with dopamine levels. The dopamine levels in your brain can mess with the way that you see the world. High people with high dopamine, there's a theory that Joan of Arc and maybe Buddha and many of the great visionaries, maybe Muhammad too, had high dopamine levels to the point that they would see patterns where patterns don't exist. They would see things and they would come up with, and conspiracy theorists tend to be high dopamine as well because they're like connecting the dots in ways that don't make sense, right? They're doing things. So if you're telling me that this is a real thing that happened, I have a big problem with that because I don't believe it. First of all, that there's really a miracle that people like God lifts a mountain in front of these people and they still don't believe them. Like this is God. Like,
yeah.
what
And
are
then
you
they go
doing?
worship the calf.
And then who is making this shit up? This is not true. This is not the humanity
Oh,
I know.
Ali's battery is low. He's saying he might lose us.
Okay.
Okay. Anyways,
okay.
I just want to do one thing before
go
you
ahead.
go.
Oh,
Oh,
he's
he's
gone.
gone? Okay. I just wanted to ask him a few questions. We'll come back if you have time, okay?
Okay, Sarah, hello.
Hello, Sarah.
You have to unmute your mic. I can't unmute you. You have to unmute yourself.
There you go.
Oh, there you go.
Hi guys, how are you?
Good. How are
I'm
you?
great.
Good, good. You don't see me, right? You just like see
Yes.
my picture,
Yes.
correct?
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. I just wanted to say I am so glad and I'm grateful, you know, the world has people like you and we need to speak up. I am doing stuff behind the scene. I am on my way. Of course, I am an ex-Muslim and I'm just like grateful humanity and the world has people like you. And I wanted to say thank you so much and I support you 100% behind you, what you guys do. And
Thank you so much.
yeah, and it's time for people to come forward. I live in United States. I'm from America, US, and I am writing my book and I am on my way. So definitely we're gonna have to fight together.
No, I
Thank
think
you
it's
for the kind words. Yeah, appreciate it.
Yeah.
thank you so much, and it's an ongoing struggle, and it's the struggle
It
of the
is.
pen, not the sword.
Absolutely, absolutely. No.
It's jihad al-qalam.
No, I think is we have to, and if we don't do it, who's going to do it? Who's going to speak up? And I know in the West, it's just like I don't think people understand what real Islam does to human being, you know, because these people who are literally killing, even today, like the teacher in France, it's just so sad. It makes me like really upset. It makes me like we need to when are people gonna wake up?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
we're working on it. So hopefully
Yes, and thank you so much, and thank you. Keep it up, the great work, and we'll do it together. And thank you, and nice to meeting you both.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Take care. Bye.
Yep. Bye.
Hey, we at least got a few Muslims to admit that they believe in talking wolves and cows and stones. So not all is lost.
You know, that's the point. You know, I just want to say, like, that's the point. That's the point you were making. I just want to emphasize this point. Do you believe in that it's possible talking wolves and blah blah blah? No. I mean, I'm not sure. Let me show you the hadith. Okay, I believe it. I believe it now.
Come on.
Hadith.
This is literally the whole point, that what religion does to your brain is it'll make you believe in ideas that only insane people can believe on their own. That's a quote from Sam Harris, I think. Sorry.
Oh yeah.
All right, so we have things are getting hot and naughty in here. It's big-eyed, perfumed, sexy, veiled virgins. Oh my God, Allah, calm down. So, in Allah's glory and magnificence, because He is the creator of beauty, He says that in Jannah, Allah has created women that are modest. They don't look at other men, and they're guarded inside tents from genies and humans, and nobody's touched them before. And they're like rubies and coral. Now, one wonders, like, why does Allah need to put them in tents? There's no sin in Jannah. They're not going to get raped by genies or humans. So why are they in tents? Secondly, there's hadiths that say that there will be a Jummah Bazaar, a Friday market in heaven. We mentioned this in the Heaven podcast. And that the women will still not be allowed to go outside. Only the men will go to the market. So, Horace actually got a clip of a Peace TV speaker in Urdu saying that with his big beard. And he's like, look, you know, this shows that Allah does not like people going into markets, even in heaven. So why go to the market in the world? It's a bad, fahish place.
Wow.
Yeah, so this is the reasoning. But on the right side is what we get is, oh boy, the description of some of these huris, these virgins that await the Muslims. So Allah says that if or place equal to a foot in paradise, okay, and if one of the women of paradise looked at the earth, merely glanced at it, she would fill the whole space between them, that is the earth and the heavens, with light. No. This is the whole universe is full of light. all of the known
So
visible
weird.
universe.
Yeah, I don't know how this is so weird.
This is some ecstatic heaven virgins. I don't know, man. And then if her veil was lifted, if her perfume would fill the whole world, and the veil of her face is better than the whole world and whatever is it. So just the veil of this virgin is more precious than all of the world combined and everything, the whole universe. Can you imagine the absurdity that a virgin in heaven is more valuable than the whole universe? Like,
Jesus, holy.
This is some next level weird fetishization.
Weird, yeah. Another one.
Oh my god. Transparent, sexy virgin prostitutes. Okay. This one's just like, okay, this will really show you how bizarre the mentality and thinking of Muhammad was. And not only that, the guy had no clue that beauty standards are so extremely subjective. Like, for example, he says he likes transparent women, but I don't. Who likes transparent women?
That's so weird.
It says here that the Houthis will have transparent skin that you can see the marrow inside their bones, through their bones and flesh.
That's weird.
What?
Super weird.
So again, it's just this weird fetishization, objectification of women, and this weird obsession with sex in heaven. That again, we were in our heaven podcast, we came across these two scholars, and one of them said that there's a verse in the Quran, Surah Yasin, in ashab al-yawma fi shughulin fakihun, that they'll be in joy and having fun, the people of Jannah. And then the tafsir goes that they'll be busy tearing hymens every morning. So
crazy.
I mean, it doesn't stop.
It is crazy. All right, we'll do a couple more slides and we'll try to finish up. This one is funny. It's like reverse evolution.
So here's what's funny is like it says that when Adam was in heaven, his length was 60 cubits, which is what, 190 feet or 120 feet, something like that. That's how tall he was. And then the people followed him, continued to diminish in size up to this day. So from that day on, humans have been getting shorter. Now, it's just bizarre because we've actually gone the reverse. We've been getting taller from what I know, all the fossils show.
Yeah.
And not only that, like, it's impossible for humans to be that big. In fact, if you go do basic research, you'll realize that increasing the body size of a biological organism increases the insides of it by a root of like exponentials of 4. So if you make me twice as big, the heat being emitted from my body might be 4 times as high, and I can spontaneously combust. It's actually possible.
Yeah.
Exactly, and muscle mass, bone strength, so many issues. Now, how were dinosaurs that big? Back in the day, there was a lot more oxygen in the Earth's atmosphere, and too much oxygen causes oxygen toxicity, which can kill you. So to adapt to that, organisms had to get bigger so they don't die of the overabundance of oxygen. When the oxygen went down, our body sizes decreased, and that's how it's been.
Oh yeah,
but it's definitely not that humans were 60 cubits. We were never that tall. It's impossible for us.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. Okay, so I think if we can end off there, maybe we'll take one more last caller, and then I just want to share before we take the last caller. I want to share the sign up link for my mailing list. If you guys can please go and join on there. Getting a strike on the main channel made it harder for me to keep in touch with everybody, and so just to not have to play with YouTube's policies and deal with the you can only do this and you can only do that and you can only send so many links and you can only promote this, and this is like direct access from us to you guys, from me specifically, for live stream announcements, anything. It won't be too many emails. I don't send more than 1 a week. Your email will be kept safe and won't be shared with anybody else. Please do sign up on the list. There's about 1,000 people on there right now, so please do join at some point. If you're offering any if you write any ebooks or anything like that, you'll be the first to know. So please do that. Is there a comment you want me to share?
Yeah, I just saw a comment from Yasin Al-Fateh about the commentary of Ibn Hajar on what happened to Adam when he was kicked out of heaven.
Oh yeah.
It says that when Adam fell from heaven, his feet were on the ground while his head was in heaven.
Oh yeah. What the? Oh, because he's so big.
Yeah.
That's hilarious. All right,
I
so
mean, that's hilarious. How was he breathing like high up there? The pressure differential was too much. Eh? even the gravity, man. Oh, time dilation, bro.
all right, last caller, Aladdin. Hello again. Welcome back.
Oh, you remember me? Hello again.
Yes, hi. How's it
Hello.
going?
Yeah, last time we talked, I didn't send you an email. You owe me an email to arrange for probably being a guest on an Arabic channel, but you can speak Arabic if you want, but you can speak English also, and that's extend to both of you.
Thank you.
And the thing that I wanted to talk tonight about, even though I know that you are going, it's the end of the show now, so sorry to just get late here. But what's your stand, or what's your understanding of the morality coming from an Islamic culture? We define morality probably in a different way than most of the scholars and most of the people who are talking about this subject now. And coming from an Arabic also, the distinction between morality and ethics is not very clear, especially when you're talking in Arabic about what is the translation of morality and what's the translation of ethics. So I just wanted to see what you think about what is moral, why things are moral or immoral according to you, and what was the morality meaning when you were Muslim before you left Islam. Thank you again, and wish you good night.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so much. So I'll give my 2 cents on it first. So firstly, like, the goal of morality and how it's understood is vividly different between religion and secularism or non-religion. To me, morality is just like another adaptation of our body. It's an adaptation of our brain. For example, like our hands adapted to the environment, our brain adapted to the environment to make predictions and expectations, and based on that, help us make choices that aid our survival in the long term. This is, in essence, what I would define as morality. Now, what happens is a lot of the times we have groupings and people come together, and then humans will collectively agree on a set of rules as a community or society. And then they'll follow those rules, and in general, like, they are made to induce survival and values and whatnot that can lead to in the long run for survival. On the other hand, religious morality isn't made just for survival. Actually, it's completely misplaced, where the point of religious morality most of the time ends up being is not to incur the wrath of a divine being. And a lot of times it counteracts sometimes the survival mechanism. For example, having sex is normal, and if somebody acts on it in 7th century Arabia, it was totally normal for somebody to do that. You would get stoned to death, right? But like I said, also the problem is with religion. Religion can't really prove that it's also on itself objective in any way, shape, or form. They can't prove their God is objective. So in essence, when you look at it from an outsider perspective, religion just looks like where there's these people coming across, popping up in different cultures in different pockets of time, and then they all have their different evolving moral compasses based on where they're living. And these people put all of their moral values in the mouth of God, but in fact, at the end, it's just different humans in different times making moral claims, attributing it to something supernatural. And that's how I see it. It's moral relativism. It's at the core of even religion. Like, even in the Quran, you'll see this tendency where the alcohol was first okay, then it was only banned for salah, then it was gradually banned overall. So you see that Muhammad is also adapting slowly to the needs of his time. And if you remove God out of the equation, it becomes pretty clear that these are all, in essence, human efforts. It's just that our biases and stuff can misconstrue where our values go to. So, for example, if to me, the survival of my son is more important than, his afterlife, there's the whole thing, like if you value the afterlife more, are you going to make choices in this life that aren't as conducive to a comfortable life, or a more, let's say, more geared towards survival in this life, because you don't really care about this life, because like the Quran says, right, وَمَا الْحَيَاةُ الدُّنْيَا إِلَّا مَتَاعُ الْغُرُورِ, that this is nothing but a delusion. There's a lot of, like I said, it's a huge topic, morality, and I was just trying to be very simplistic, but that's my 2 cents on it.
Just before I go
Yeah,
to Abdullah, and
yeah.
I think I mixed that. I owe you an email, right? You don't owe me anything. That's right.
I didn't find any email from you. Yeah, it's
Yeah, I
abdullah.adam
didn't send that. I'm
@gmail.com.
sorry. That's it was a very busy week.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Okay.
I get it there other way. But
Yeah,
for
no problem.
I heard you saying that morality is more of a biological foundation. If that's what I heard right. Or,
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you think it's more of it's a priori or a foundation that's found in a human rather than it's a choice?
Well, if you want to really go into the depths of morality, then you can go into the evolution of apes, and then primatology, and then the neurons, where like the development of the mirror neuron system. It's a deep rabbit hole, and then evolutionary psychology, how and why creatures do this and that, and but at the essence of it, I see that just your brain is a part of your body, just like your hand is a part of your body. They have different functions and different outcomes and whatnot. The brain is an organ that thinks about things, and an adaptation it has to its environment, which comes out in what we call ethics and morality. It's an adaptation to the environment. It's a mental adaptation sometimes, you know? So that's how I see it. And humans have always collectively come together and agreed amongst themselves whatever is true and not. Again, we can obviously derive with experience that certain principles will generally lead to a better quality of life. For example, like what we have as human rights, they're obviously subjective. They're not grounded objective. There's not like a thing in the heaven, a tablet where it says human rights or charter of human rights. No, it's an abstract concept, right? So he said in that sense, morality is an adaptation, and we humans are, let's just say, much better than the morality that we find in books that were written about 1,000 years ago or 1,500 years ago.
Yeah, and there are other Hammurabi, and there's been different laws and moral guides and things that have evolved over time. So it is a very big discussion, and I think we may have to leave it for another time, just because it's late as well.
Yeah, I'll just say one last thing, that do we really care if like monkeys cheat on their spouses, right?
Yeah.
If we find that absurd, well, we are all in essence animals too. We just can't realize because we have been grown intoxicated with human exceptionalism. That's it.
Yeah. Although the whole thing about not lying and cheating, it is again beneficial to society if people follow these, honest and so with human beings there's another level past the level of like, even though chimps do have rudimentary morality, they care about fairness. If you pay one chimp less than the other, they'll get mad. If you give them both the same, they're fine. But if you give one of them a grape and the other one like a cucumber, the one that gets the cucumber will get mad because he wants a grape too. So there's definitely animals that go out of the way to, and so a lot of it is biological, like you said, like the whole thing about the selfish gene and how we will jump in the water to save a child because that child is our DNA, and that's what, if we never evolved to save our children, we wouldn't exist to this day. And the ones that didn't care about their children, the DNA was cut off, right? So the whole thing about adultery and mate guarding, there's a whole thing about humans doing mate guarding. They watch the partner, they want to make sure the partner is not going to cheat, because if it's a woman and the husband cheats, then he's going to take away all of his resources and go spend it on some other children and another woman. And from the man, if he doesn't watch his wife or his partner and she cheats, he could be raising someone else's DNA, right? And what's the big deal? The big deal is that if that was something that we weren't guarding for, that would have evolved itself out. So there's a lot of things that we think of as morality, which are really just practically speaking something that we don't do because of the survival of the human race, like incest. incest is bad for humanity because it causes birth defects and problems, and
Allah did it.
Adam and Eve, right? This is like a huge topic, and I'm just like throwing things out here. But yeah, Aladdin, thank you for the call. You do send me an email, and me and Gondal, neither of us speak Arabic, so it's gonna have to be in English if you want to invite us to another channel. But thank you for the invitation. Do send it whenever you're ready, and we'll consider it. And thanks for calling, and to everyone else, thanks for joining us on the new channel. And hopefully the main channel will be back in action soon. For those of you who are joining here, really do appreciate it if you subscribe as well. And Gondal, when are you gonna start your channel? When is your channel coming?
I don't know. I have a few ideas, working on a few things, but I did share some few ideas with you. We'll see if that works out. So I have to do a few things. But yeah, not sure. Maybe this end of this year, maybe Christmas, maybe next year. Who knows? You know how things are going. The Dawa world is very up and down, unpredictable these days.
That'll be the best Christmas gift for us, our followers and fans.
I just realized. I just realized just before we said bye, we're only on slide 33 out of 101. So we're only 1/3 the way through. And just to we'll do part 2, maybe even part 3, who knows? But we have to still go over flying carpets, black magic, just to give you an idea. We have suicides, we have newborn talking babies, angels, magic tricks, Satan tickling little babies, crying trees hugging Muhammad, Satan pissing on people, red farting in the mosque. It's chickens seeing angels, people rubbing Muhammad's sweat on their face. So it's quite a like it gets actually much more. Actually gets really bizarre after slide 50. So do stay tuned for part number 2, because like imagine Solomon flying on a Aladdin carpet. That's literally what happened. So
and the Muslim callers definitely add some masala, some spice to the show, and I really do appreciate the calls, which is why I kept the caller. I let Ray stay for like longer than usually we let people stay on the call, because I think there was a good discussion going on there. And it's when I started this thing, it was tough to find people to talk to. I don't know if you remember that. Nobody wants to come on. Nobody wants to come on the air and talk about these things. It takes a lot of guts, and a lot of people keep saying, I'm not a scholar. You don't have to be a scholar, and we're not scholars either. So we're just throwing ideas, and we're just having a conversation, just like friends, chatting. You're chatting with your ex-Muslim friend at I was going to say at the club, but Muslims are not supposed to go to clubs. At the beach, or nowadays we can't even go to the beach. But oh, what a world we live in! But yeah, this is just like a virtual conversation you're having in a living room. Just among friends, we can be friends and we can have these conversations, and it's great. Honestly, I truly appreciate that Muslim, last time we had a Muslim caller, he was just angry and he was just looking to pick on you, and he's like, you got it all wrong about Salafis and Deobandis and whatever. And I was like, what do we like? What are you poking at? Like, what was the point of that? Like, that's not even we're not even talking about that. But today we got callers that were sincerely respectful, engaging with us, trying to have a conversation, which is amazing. This is the type of stuff that people grow with. You know what I mean? Like, and I can bet you, I'm not saying for sure these guys, but there's going to be people that call in. It's 2020, maybe in 2021, the same guy will call back, or the same lady, and we'll be like this now. I'm not Muslim anymore. My situation's changed. I don't consider this to be the word of God. I'm sure we're gonna have people like that. So, whenever I get callers like that, I'm so happy. I'm like, this is why we're doing this. We want people to talk to us. This is what we want. The yelling, it's dramatic and it's fun, but like, this is actually better. This is more productive.
Like the way we today showed that the Muslim caller would be asked a question about a weird idea, and their initial instinct is always, I'm not sure I believe in that.
Yeah.
So you can see initially that, rationally doesn't make sense. But as soon as that same absurd idea is put in the context and put into a book in the 7th century, 1,000-year-old, it suddenly becomes believable. Like it's just subhanallah, right?
Yeah. And I remember, yep, go ahead. Sorry.
And these Muslims, Muslim viewers, when they'll see these other Muslims online talking to us and us asking him, do you believe in stones talking to a man? And then they being like, yeah, I do. The impact that it has on the other viewers and how much of an eye-opener that is for them, people don't realize, right? And that's why we're doing this. So hopefully this shows people, maybe highlights the absurdity and shows that, okay, we should stop rationalizing insanities.
You form a community and perform a great service to humanity. Thank you, JAZ. People need to know about this stuff. Thank you, guys. Stay safe and away from COVID and the Deen. Hey, Gondal, can you upload your slides? I was planning to upload the slides, but we didn't finish it yet, so I'm hesitant to I don't want to share it until we're done. I think
there's 100 slides, so it's a lot more that's to go.
Yeah. Once we're done. Yeah. Okay, we'll see. We'll upload at some point. At some point we will upload the slides. Not right now.
Yeah. So do you guys want to see us do the next time as in like all of it, cover the whole 100 slides? You want to split us 2 parts, more calls, less slides? You can leave the comments, let us know, and we will try to do our best.
Oh yeah, great point. Yeah, do leave comments with your feedback on how you'd like to see the show. Do you like the calls or do you don't like the calls? Do you like us to go like rush through the slides? Whatever it is, just leave your comments and any feedback you have, any suggestions. Sometimes we have guests as well, right? We'll get a third person, like Haris Sultan was on here once. That was really fun. Maybe a Positive Prophet. We should get Positive Prophet on here for one of these.
For the second stream, actually, we should do the second part maybe with him. That'd be hilarious.
Let's do that.
Comedy circus night.
he said he wants. He's a big prophet and he wants $5,000 to show up. No, I'm just kidding. He said it last time. We were having a stream. Me and Haris.
We'll use the zakat money. Don't worry.
the jizya money.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, atheist prophet, a Positive Prophet. We have to take jizya, right? And you have to we're gonna have blasphemy laws. We're gonna create our own secular. I'm just kidding. None of that stuff. Okay. All right. Stay safe, everyone. Stay well, and science hafiz.